Good morning, dear. No, I'm sorry. I can help it. Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing on this glorious morning? Add podcast title.
Good morning, lovely.
Hey. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Wednesday morning? It's Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday? Yes, it is Wednesday. Just looked up on my calendar. Good morning, everyone, on this wonderful Wednesday morning. I'm trying to Uncle Rummy Rum. My days merge into each other today. We are talking about why you won't promote your book and how to do it excellently, part 2. Oh, and podcast, part 2. He said add podcast. Yes. All right. Renee, your hair is really nice. I don't know what you did to it, but I noticed the last couple of calls.
Oh, thank you. Oh, shucks. Oh, shucks. You go on. You look like a bumblebee as always, Deanna. You look gorgeous as always.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Watch them get long. You got them up in a ponytail. Go ahead, girl.
So, I got some length going on. That's
So I'm just hating. That's all right.
You go get that. All right. Well, yesterday, 7-Eleven was a wonderful day. The Sorrentinos celebrated 4 decades of marriage. That is a blessing. All right.
Woo-hoo!
All right. You know what? To strive to get to 40 years. Uncle Rummy Rome and the Sorrentinos, they found out. They found the secret. We're gonna sit them down and just have a whole conversation like, so what was the secret? What is the secret? But no, happy anniversary to
Secret is yes, dear.
Oh.
That's what my dad said. My dad said the same thing.
Oh, nice. So I'm on the right track then.
He said prayer, communication, and yes, dear. That's what he said.
I'm learning that the secret is prayer, communication. I'm not the biggest communicator, and I'm learning how to, and it works. Communicate. When I say communication is key, they don't be lying about that. They don't be lying about that at all.
Communication is like activated to a Jerry curl. It works.
You have the craziest saying, Renee's, but they make sense.
I carry on top of the dome.
You know what? You should every time you say something like that, you should write it down, and then you should put a graphic with it, and now you have content, and it's your stuff.
And then make a book with those sayings.
Yes, do a book with those sayings, or the calendars. So one of the projects that I'm going to do for my up and coming project that we're talking about is there. When I worked in the apartment industry, there was this one company that every year they sent a calendar, and it was about that thick. It was about that big. It was the size of a note cards. And every day was a different saying, a different quote, with who it was by, with this pretty little, and it was just a rainbow piece of paper. Like, there was nothing beautiful about the graphic, but it just had a quote, and it had it for every single day. So every single day I walked in the office, I ripped off a sheet. If it was one that I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to hold on to this one, I kept it. If not, I trashed it. You should do that. Renee. You should take your sayings, your own personal sayings, and put them on a calendar. So every day when somebody wake up, when they sit at their desk or they're at home at their home office, they can look at it and they can just tear it off. So like one day can be like, joy is like a Jerry curl activated. Just go together with life or something like that.
I like that though. That's a really good idea. Okay. Thank you.
He's full of good ideas.
So, Oh, and the flip up calendars. Like you can have a quote. Yeah, you can have it where like when they flip it up, that
Quote of
top
the
page,
day.
yeah, that top page is that beautiful graphic, or you can have someone sitting there getting their hair done. And on the page with the calendar part with the dates at the bottom in the right hand corner, or at the bottom, wherever you want to put it, you have your quote right there. So now every
Oh.
time, so for a whole month, they focusing on the fact that life and joy is like a jerk curl and activated. It just go together,
Lord have mercy. That's a very Black example.
It is,
Yes.
but it makes sense, doesn't it?
It does make sense. It does make sense. Does
Thank
make
you for
sense.
that.
Deanna, go ahead and submit that for me while we talking real quick, so you can. How long do you think it's going to take? Because you don't need to multitask today.
like 2 minutes.
All right, 2 minutes it is. Go ahead and run that.
Actually,
Mornings.
give me about 5, only because I have to log back in, because every now and then I get it boots me out. So hold on, I'm
Better.
almost there.
Why you won't promote your book and podcast and how to do it part 2. Excellently. Okay, outstanding. There we go. Tomorrow we will cover the other stuff. Deanna, when you finish that, you're going to go down, you're going to repost your list. Or Grace, do you have the list of everything I had told her to do? I need that. It was
Yes.
like 17 things. All right, you repost that while she's doing that. We're going to, yesterday was trees only. So you have you got all the steps, overwhelming, but you got all the steps. Now what you need is the forest view and how to make that applicable to your own life, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But first, we check on Jerome. How art thou?
The funeral itself was not bad at all. We did get an uncle to get up, and of course I'm an uncle. Just as the preacher is about to preach, and they had the remarks for the end, and he came from the back of the. It was at a funeral parlor, it wasn't at a church, and came back, and the preacher's in the pulpit with the sermon ready to preach. Happened to be my cousin, my first cousin, and this dude went blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And I turned to my cousin behind me and say, "See, that's my people right there. See, that's my people, right?" And finally, one of his, it must have been a brother, got up. He was 2 seats in front of me, went around and was kind of, talking to him. He didn't get it, because you could tell this is one of them guys. He might pull out a gun and shoot all of us. He was one of them. We're gonna get to the bottom of this, because when I found out she died, and then blah, blah. And here was the part that was so amazing. He says, because she was blind, he said, but now she can see. And the minister said, "You preaching my sermon." And you could tell it just broke the whole thing, and he calmed down, and then the other one kind of helped. I said, "What the hell?"
Right. Look at that.
So that was the I didn't go to the graveyard, because I can't stand for more than 10 minutes, and I ain't know where it was, and I ain't know how long I've been there, and then I had to bury me out there and all that. So I just went to the little repast at the family house. That blew the hell out of my mind. Stayed a couple hours. You couldn't eat in the house because my sister, and so I came on home.
Fair enough.
So
fair enough.
I survived yesterday, and let me tell you, it was like, and Melissa, I was supposed to work on that book yesterday. I fell asleep, woke up at 11, and I was still knocked out. I was completely drained yesterday, but it was a good day, and I got to come on the class. I got the notes. Great, Grace. I got the notes from that you posted on the. So I'm good. I'm real good. But I couldn't go up to the casket. I couldn't go up to the casket. I got halfway, and she looked beautiful. And I said, "Sit your behind down, Jerome. Sit your behind down." Yeah, she was one of those type people that in my with Renee in my shanana. That's who this young lady was. 36 years old. She was amazing. Her blind friends got up at the end. They had the whole place on the floor. They came by the house. I said, y'all three that was, because I was in it with them when they got there. I said, y'all three, y'all knew my niece. Y'all knew my niece well. They had everybody rolling. They sang, they make little quote. It was a good send-off. It was a good send-off. So thank you for checking, sir.
Oh yeah, but no doubt. I got one more commercial appreciation, because by the end, the class was almost done. I didn't make a big stink of it then when me and Susan were going back and forth, but I knew I was going to do it this morning because yesterday was feeling Susan's anniversary. And now I can make a big stink out of it because I didn't do it at the beginning. And we went to make a big stink out of it. 42 years of perfect bliss, never one problem at all. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. All right, there you go. So come on, y'all unmute your mics and give 42 years.
Yes,
Lord
yay.
have mercy.
Congratulations.
That just sounds painful to me. I mean, 42 years. There you go. So congratulations to both of them. When they brought it up, I was like, oh man, in my head, I was thinking, it's already at the end. So I knew I was going to do it this morning. And I woke up with it on this morning on my mind to make sure I did not forget that. So congratulations to you two. Here's to 42 more because y'all trying to live that old. So there you go. There you go. 42 years. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Thank you, Antonio.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. Very welcome. Very welcome. 7-Eleven. There it is. 7-Eleven.
Did anyone go have a free Slurpee on us?
Yeah, right.
I did.
You did? All right, Tracy.
There's a 7-Eleven in Houston.
It's 7-Eleven across the country every year. So I post the whole thing and say, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Go have a free Slurpee on us.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
At our wedding, we had the little styrofoam cups that said, thank heaven for 7-Eleven at the reception for everyone.
Nice. Well, congratulations. 42 years. That's a God move. That's one of them.
Along with the hot tub wedding cake, because I chickened out on getting married in a hot tub. We met at a hot tub party at a judge's house. So
it sounds like
they were all ready to do it. The whole TV thing, they were all ready to go.
Hot tub wedding. That sounds like something Phil would participate in. Hot tub wedding. That would have been nice. All right. Well, one of you listening on the podcast or here in one of these squares, you owe it to this community to do a hot tub wedding. You have to do it. Oh, well, it's in the energy, it's in the ether, and you have to unchicken out. Every action has an opposite equal reaction. So one of y'all owe us a hot tub wedding. There you go. On 7-Eleven, by the way. On 7-Eleven. Hot tub wedding on 7-Eleven. So we will see you next year for a hot tub wedding. Just try not to do it in the middle of Texas in a hot tub. Unless you're indoor in a hot tub, because Texas is hot. I know y'all remember I was in Arizona a couple years for my birthday, and they had a hot tub where I was. And I was like, what is a hot tub doing in the desert? What's going on here? Yeah, but anyway, tomato. Whoever's that salesperson, though, Phil, you need to hire him immediately. Whoever's selling hot tubs in Arizona is a really good salesperson. It's a really good sales. It's like selling boats in Colorado, like Denver, like selling boats in Denver. It just doesn't make sense, but there you go. Part 2. Yesterday we went straight with trees. That's all you had was trees, nothing else. And you got all those details, and I won't review because there's no review point. You just gotta go listen to yesterday. But I need to tell you how to conceptualize all of this, make it applicable, and apply it to your life and your stuff. Go ahead, Sandra.
I wanted to ask about Bill and Susan. Yesterday, Susan, did you say that Bill's birthday was also on that day?
No, his birthday's August 1st.
Okay. I just remember you saying something about his birthday yesterday.
I think it's to assume it was on a Tuesday, the Bureau. Yeah.
Oh,
That's what it
okay,
was. Mhm.
okay. I was
Yeah.
thinking about that hot tub in the, yeah, that would make sense why it would be a hot tub and the anniversary, the wedding day, all that put together. That's
I don't think Phil needs an excuse for a birthday to jump in a hot tub. I don't think so. I think it's just, babe, there's a hot tub, I think that's one of those things right there for sure. Grace, we're going to do this in two ways. We're going to talk to people who don't have a podcast. No. That's not strong enough. We're going to talk to people who think, I don't need a podcast. There you go. And then we're going to talk to people who have a podcast. And I'm just going to assume you're not doing what you want to do with it with your podcast. That's just what I'm going to assume. If you are, that still will benefit you. But this conversation would be more valuable if I just make assumptions that you have a podcast, but you're not doing what you need or desire to do with it. That would be far more valuable, as I can cover more details there. So Grace, do me a favor, put that number one. I don't need a podcast. You probably don't. And put like Antonio voice. I don't need Antonio mocking voice. I don't need a podcast. Put that down. And then number two, I have my pod. Y'all have a regular voice. Number two, I have my podcast. I'm just not doing what I need to do with it. Okay. Y'all fit in one of those categories, because even if you say, well, I ain't got a podcast, but I want one, then you in number two, because you got one in your mind. You got one in your mind. That's what we're going to do. Conceptually work this out. Both of you need serious help, but it's not serious in the sense of a negative tone. It's just, here is some help for you. Typically, I used to teach, let's produce 100 episodes. With artificial intelligence, you can actually make that 1,000 now, because you don't have to do the work. You just need one good prompt and then copy and paste, say, do not repeat. But we'll get to that, because that is part of today, but it's a very short part of today. Tracy asked into the chat, I want to know how to get my podcast to make money by either how to market it better or get more downloads. Grace remind me to come back to that. Actually, remind me to start there, monetizing your podcast. A little bit out of order, but I'm assuming everybody went, yeah, Antonio, talk about that. So I'm sure we're going to do that one first.
Yes.
Well, there you go. All right. Just whenever you bring up money in my pocket, you can't say, hold that to the end. No, people can't hear you until you do that now. The first thing you need to do when you want to make money on your podcast, well, let's order this. In this particular case, I'm talking to both 1 and 2, because if you don't have a podcast, you need to know this. And if you do have a podcast, you need to know this. How to monetize my podcast in 3 to 4 easy steps. Number one, obviously, get attention. There's no way around it. I cannot not say that. Obviously, number one is get attention. Number two is build your downloads to 500 downloads a month. That's not necessarily enough to make real money, but there are platforms that you can monetize your podcast with 500 downloads a month. So now you have a goal. Does everybody follow what I'm saying? You now have a goal. You've been wondering, what did it take to monetize my podcast? 500 downloads. I need to put in number 2 as an addendum or parentheses that don't confuse downloads with streams. Many people don't download podcasts, they stream them. So if your podcast is getting 36,000 downloads, it's getting far more streams. Most people by default have their podcast set to download and just downloads. Their phones or devices to download podcasts and just downloads. But
Question.
Yes.
500 downloads a month or 500 downloads a week?
A month is minimum for what I'm going to say in number 3. A week is far more desirable, because remember, companies are going to pay CPM, cost per thousand. When you strike your podcasting deal with brands, they're going to pay by CPM. CPM, M is a Roman numeral, cost per thousand. So she asked a great question, which pulled more out of me. I'll even help. Well, let me not do that. Let me not. I'll give you a prompt to help you. I'll give you a prompt to help you figure out what to charge for your podcast, but that's coming up in number 4. So let's repeat number 1 and 2. Typically, when I spend a lot of time on like number 1 or number 2, it means that I can't move forward till everybody has equal footing on this foundation. Number 1, get attention. I know you love the Lord. The Lord ain't paying you to get in front of your audience. It's just, yeah. I told my dad this yesterday, Jerome. We was talking, and I was like, I don't understand why I always say you Christians, because he's like a super Christian, Susan. He's got like the blue, thing on. He goes to the phone booth and comes out a pastor, he's a super Christian. And I said, I don't know why you Christians pray to God for blessings and mistreat people. I don't understand it, because God has never given y'all anything. That's through people. I say, when God gives you something, it's through Adonia's hands. God is not sending his hand through a cloud saying, here, Grace. No, it comes through people. But I tell you, I say where it comes from. I say, God, please help me, or God has supplied all my needs. And while these two things are true, y'all say it so much, you actually think you brainwash yourself into removing people out of God has supplied my needs. No,
Isn't
God
it the
supplied.
spirit moves you to do? I mean, for some people, it's the spirit moves you to do that. For people that aren't Christians, they do it out of some other reasons, usually something, what's in it for me type of thing.
Fair enough, which makes us saying the same thing, because
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the motive. I'm talking about it's through these little phalanges right here.
Yeah.
Through the spirit moved me to give Grace a lollipop.
Okay. I got it now.
like when I give Grace some Oreos for Valentine's Day, that was actually the first gift I ever bought for the other gender. It was some Oreos. I was like 14. That's what I thought was a Valentine's Day gift. It is what it is, Susan. You had to pray for me. Some Oreos, and it was to Marisha Pierre. I gave Marisha Pierre some Oreos, and God didn't give those Oreos. That was my hands. God gave it through my spirit, but my little fat little chocolate fingers gave her the gifts. And that's the same energy that I need you to respect your podcast with. Notice, I never said God don't give you nothing, Jerome. I said God give it through somebody else's hands. That is accurate. It is. It's accurate. And I need you to receive this when it comes to podcasting, Tracy. You can't pray. And you can't post once a day and get paid. It says, men shall give into your bosom. That is correct. Y'all get it? So don't treat your podcast like you treat your prayer life.
Watch it.
Don't expect things to just flow through the law of attraction. No, they're going to flow through attention. Sorry, but it is the truth. What was number 2? Where podcasts?
Download 5.
Downloads. Don't confuse downloads with streams, but they are going to pay cost per thousand, which leads number 3, find a marketplace. You don't have to, but if you are Joe Rogan, you don't have to. Advertisers will find you. If you are Grace, find a marketplace. Advertiser will find that marketplace and then match your podcast to a particular client.
What do you mean by marketplace?
Exactly. That's why it's number 3. A marketplace. Well, everybody familiar with eBay? Everybody familiar with Amazon? Outstanding. These are marketplaces. These are marketplaces. eBay is a marketplace for Phil to go into his closet, sell his old Allen Edmonds for $99, slightly worn. I actually bought my Allen Edmonds. I only have one pair, and I swear to you, I bought my Allen Edmonds that way, slightly worn, $4 pair. The dude probably wore them twice because they had no problems, or at least Allen Edmonds are just that fantastic. Just that fantastic. I bought them off eBay for $99, slightly worn. That's a marketplace in which eBay represents constituents, too big of a word, in which eBay represents people who want to be represented. That's a marketplace. Likewise, there are podcast marketplace. I'll give you 2, notably. What's the green one called, Daniel?
Is it Spotify?
No.
Nothing?
The green marketplace. The website's green. They pay us all the time. What are you doing?
Advertisers.
Advertisers. There you go.
I have to
All
think
right.
of Charles.
Yeah, I never log in. She logs in. So I can Advertisers. Pull up the website, Deanna. So that, pull up the website, show it on the screen, and also put the link in chat for Grace. Advertisers. And then once you go ahead and pull up the Secret to Success page after you do that, show the home page first, pull the Secret to Success page, give them that link so y'all can just copy and paste should you want to. There you go. Advertise on 3,000 plus podcasts, the premier podcast and advertising network. It's true. Here's Advertise Cast. It's a marketplace, Tracy, which I'm sure your blood just got super excited. It's a marketplace. You put your podcast on there. You show thine credentials, your reach, your audience, etc. And every time they get a client, so you have somebody like Phil pitching people to like Green Chef and whoever makes this
convincing,
tile.
persuasive arguments using what is known as Aristotle.
Okay. Sorry, I was listening to some nerd stuff and didn't know I hit my space bar.
Oh, that was you. I was trying to see who
I was trying to see it too. I was like, yes, I was doing research on logos, pathos, and ethos, which and the argument styles. But anyway. Oh, Phil is pitching Green Chef and whoever did this podcast and Mama's Hamburgers and all these people, and they pay money. And then when they get money, they split the commission 50-50, 60-40, whatever. Who knows? Who cares? And then they match that particular Mama's Hamburgers, and they go, well, here is Adonia. She has women and men who eat hamburgers, and then they match it up to there. So this is yes. Anyway, well, don't show that. That's not really helpful. Show, I don't know, show somebody on there that's not us, and then I think it'll have more information. You get it? Because that's the back office. That's too confusing. Show the front end.
Okay.
Yeah, to where well, I thought it was going, yeah, show the front end. That was that wasn't helpful at all. It gave plenty of value if you're a nerd or if you like Susan, because Susan will genuinely do what I say in the middle of the call and be like, wait a minute, Tony, on my screen don't look like that.
Okay.
So-
I was like, wait a minute, I don't know what screen. Okay, so here's
Yeah.
how.
Okay, much better.
Yeah, this is like the actual homepage, so you can look, and then it tells you how many people they reach. Like this one's exclusive, and then it also, some of them actually shows, where is it, the cost to advertise on their platform.
Yeah, see, hold on, no. Let's go back down. This is because somebody's going to ask a smart question. This is per episode, not
Yeah.
per month.
No, this is per episode. So this person reaches 2,300 people. if we wanted to run an ad on their podcast, it would run us $45 to $70 per ad.
So stop right there. This person is telling you that we charge, let's just use $70. We charge $35 per 1,000. That's what this person is telling you. That's 35,000 CPM. Why? Because 2,000 is there. You split the 70 into 2. 35 CPM. So for every 1,000 people, they're going to charge you $35 to reach. All right, you stop it right there. Marketplace. We recommend, let me not do that. We've been with Advertisers for nearly 8-9 years at this point. We have a very good relationship with them. We even offer special deals that nobody else can offer due to the fact that we have an email back and forth relationship. I won't say that out loud as many people listen to this podcast, and I don't want to. They're just fantastic. I recommend them. We also are on Red Circle. Red Circle, when Red Circle first started, if I wasn't the first podcast, I was the 10th one. They recruited me over.
Yeah, they actually emailed. They were watching Brick by Brick, and they emailed Antonio and said, hey, one of the founders of Red Circle emailed him and said, hey, this is what we're doing. We would like for you to test out our platform and let us know. And
I get those emails all the time. They always, I get those emails all the time due to the fact that many people start podcasts, but these were different. They were two engineers from Uber started this. I could tell they were different. And as Deanna said, their marketing strategy was, let's just get a bunch of big podcasters over here, and it worked because now I think they've raised hundreds of millions of dollars and stuff and funding and stuff. And now, but they have a built-in marketplace. Deanna, go to the back, log in, show them that. Or you know what? Maybe not log in. Like Google Red Circle Marketplace. That might be more helpful. Same thing, more helpful. This is number 3. Number 3 is marketplace, Grace. Find a marketplace. The marketplace is where you put in your qualifications, and then every time they get something, you then place a bid, so to speak, or they'll reach out to you to have your podcast monetized for that particular client. Everybody understand it? And then that can run a month. Okay, Tracy doesn't understand. No worries.
Question there, because I'm on Red Circle.
Okay.
And so you said something about they'll place a bid to run go back to where you said there, because I'm on Red Circle. I have downloads from Red Circle. I even have like cross promotional with other podcasts.
That's marketing, actually.
So, but like, how do you get it bigger? Like, how do people even know to go to Red Circle? I mean, keep going, but can you explain what you just said about the bid?
Right. No. First off, keep asking questions so you don't get frustrated. Ask questions also because you're helping everybody else. Plus, the last question you ask is not the way that works, but I got you. So this is the Red Circle ad platform, all of this stuff. And this is what you can do. Hold on, just skip that real quick because she's in the system now. So now I got to get off front end and go to the back end. She's in the system.
Gotcha, logging in now.
Yeah, so she's in the system. Well, yeah, you can go, but
I'll log in.
Give me,
because there's not a lot in mine, so that way.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But Tracy, give me 2 minutes because your question is up there and I need to come down real quick to walk people up to where you are. Tracy, question was, where do you go? Well, 2 questions were great. The last one was invalid. Where do you go in? Where do the customers go? Or at least that's my assumption, to find out about my advertising. That's not how it works. What happens is customers don't know you use Advertisers or Red Circle or any other marketplace. They just hear your ads. That's all. They just hear your ads. The user experience for the customer is just an ad. You don't have to go anywhere Because regardless of where you're, no matter the reason why you're using the marketplace and the reason why you're using Red Circle is different. That's why I have to separate this answer. Red Circle is very different. They invented something completely new. Is if I listen to you on Spotify, I'm still going to hear your ad. If I listen to you with some customized RSS feed, doesn't matter. I'm still going to hear your ad. If I go to Apple, no matter where I listen, no matter where I consume podcasts, from Stitcher to whatever, I'm still going to hear your ad because podcasts are done through RSS feeds. I'm not going to go into the technology of an RSS feed. It's not relevant for this conversation. Plus, I already talked and confused people in the first place, and I don't want to confuse you even more. Just think of an RSS feed as Tracy is dating Idris Elba, and the whole world can see it because the RSS feed is like the internet. She took a picture, somebody uploaded the internet, not everybody in the world got it. That's an RSS feed. And if Tracy starts dating Idris Elba, it will go viral. That is for sure. Because it's Idris Elba. And they gonna wonder, what about his wife? And Tracy gonna say, we cool, don't worry about us. We both ballin', okay? Let him spend his millions in private. Thank you so much. I'm on the way to Budapest. Something like that. You know, it's just how it works in my little imaginative head.
And just to see if I have it right, because what I figured out was it's like you go to Red Circle, you put your podcast in Red Circle, the RSSB, whatever the number is, it's the one link, and that link actually goes out to Spotify,
Everywhere.
Google Podcasts, Amazon Radio.
Right.
And so that's what Red Circle has done. It's like one thing that will send your podcast to all of these different places so that people can find you on the different platforms depending on what they like to go on.
That is true, but Apple actually invented that technology. But yes, yeah, Red Circle has done it, but Spotify does it too, and SoundCloud does it too. But it was Apple who invented that particular RSS feed technology. Now I can answer her Red Circle question. This is why I told you in number 2, you need at least 500 downloads, because Red Circle has a very lenient marketplace. And once you get 500 downloads a week, they will send you an invitation asking you to opt in to the screen Deanna just showed y'all. You opt in to their marketplace. This is why you need 500 downloads. YouTube, coincidentally, just last week, decreased their monetization process to 500 downloads. So you have to have an audience. You can't just say yes.
I tell you, I think they missed that. I think they missed that one.
They probably
YouTube was the hardest one.
It really was.
YouTube was the hardest one to
It's the hardest
monitor
platform to grow too.
because not only did you have to have a certain amount of downloads, but you had to have a certain amount of hours watched.
Yeah.
So people can watch your videos without downloading you, and you meet your hours watched.
Right.
And it was like you had to have 1,000 downloads or something. And how many of you actually download videos from YouTube? Exactly. So that's a big deal that's a big deal for y'all. From your podcast to your videos. Tracy, your videos need to be on YouTube. Renee, your podcast needs to be on YouTube because you can sync directly from Red Circle to YouTube. And what YouTube will do is it'll use the cover of your podcast as your screen for your episode. So if someone does not listen to podcasts, but they're always on YouTube, they'll still find you.
Good point.
So question there. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Because
That's
this is what I was thinking. Because I have my podcast on YouTube and I have my podcast on Red Circle when Red Circle puts it out to everybody. But
so stop right there. Hold on, stop right there.
Through Red Circle.
Stop right there. That's 2 different marketplaces. YouTube is a marketplace. Red Circle is a marketplace.
Right. So my question there is, am I taking, because when I promote that it's available on YouTube and it's available through Red Circle or Spotify, whatever. But if people go and watch it on YouTube, then I'm getting views on YouTube, but I'm taking it away from the Red Circle downloads.
See, that's why I stressed what I said. Those two different marketplaces. I want you to receive that if you go to YouTube, think of that as another marketplace. So you're not taking away from one. Then here's why. This was one of the hardest things for me to receive in my own mind. I don't know I was so resistant about this. I'm not sure, but I had to let it go fast. Some people only listen to podcasts on YouTube. They're not going to Spotify. They're not going to Apple. And as much as it makes sense to you that they should, they're not. Some people only listen to podcasts on Apple. And then some people are just weird like me. Here's what Antonio does. And I am the weirdest, but I may be like most people. If I want to learn something, I go to YouTube. If I want to get better at something and I don't consider it learning, I consider it learning while doing something else, I go to podcasts, some sort of audio podcast. I'll switch that. If I want to learn something, I go to YouTube. When I'm watching something on YouTube, I am stationary, period. Even if I'm not watching the video, it's in the background playing, stationary. But if I'm mobile, I immediately switch my mindset to some sort of podcasting platform. And for me, it's Apple because I have an iPhone. So it's Apple Podcast. And I don't know why my brain does that. I think it's because YouTube won't let you close your, well, unless you got YouTube Red, it won't let you close your browser and it still plays. So it trained my brain stay seated while listening to YouTube, because who wants to watch a YouTube video for hours and keep that one screen open and never check social media while you're listening or something? So
How many people with podcasts, they say, okay, I'm going to listen to it while I'm jogging. I'm going to listen to it while I'm working out.
Exactly.
I'm going to listen to it while I'm doing this or that. That's kind of the thing.
Right. No, that is the thing for sure.
Yeah.
That's nail on the head. So receive, Tracy and Antonio and others, that if you put it on YouTube, you ain't taking away from your downloads. You're hitting people who went there for that very specific reason, for whatever reason in their head, this is what they're going to do. So what Tracy is actually doing is reaching people she would not have reached had she not put it on YouTube. That's what she's actually doing. Go ahead, Deanna.
Oh, no, that was me cheering.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. Yeah, I get it like that. That's what's actually, and I don't know why I was so resistant to that. I'm not sure. There was something fundamentally in me at the beginning of my career that wanted people to do what the hell I said. I posted this here and I need you to go over here. My energy is over here. And I don't know why I was so resistant to that, but I had to break it. And I was the worst. I was the absolute worst at it. And I really don't know why. I should know better. But I did not know better or do better. I did not. I did not. So just complete transparency. I blew that ball for sure. There's no doubt about it. But I do want you to mention, I didn't mention YouTube as a marketplace. YouTube actually keeps 45% of ad revenue and shares 55% of its ad revenue with creators. That's a solid deal. That's a solid deal. That's a marketplace. So now we got three marketplaces we mentioned. We mentioned Advertise Cash, Red Circle, and Marketplace. What Red Circle has invented is what's called dynamic insertions. Keep in mind, remember, Red Circle was invented by two uber engineers, like these people coding. And so they have this technological advantage over most platforms. And typically when I do an ad, I have to put that ad inside the podcast somewhere in the editing. What Red Circle allows me to do now is I don't do any editing anymore, with the exception of raising the volume, but Zoom typically puts things out at a good volume. So now all we got to do is upload it to Red Circle and insert a dynamic insertion where we want that ad to be. Let me break down dynamic insertion. When you say something dynamic, just think of artificial intelligence, okay? Just think of that for simplicity. I got you, Tracy. When you say something dynamic, just think of artificial intelligence is going to live and breathe and put your ad in the right spot. So if it's a mid-roll, you can choose at 7 minutes, play at mid-roll, do the end roll. And you can do that dynamically with just a click of a button. Go ahead, Tracy.
Okay. Now you keep saying ad, right?
Right.
What does the ad, because I have the dynamic insertions. However, you're saying it has to be like an ad. What, like, how do we create? Are we creating the ad and what we want it to say?
Both and.
Because even on the other one, you said it's an ad that they put out on other people's podcasts,
Both and.
right?
Absolutely both and. Absolutely both and. And I'll explain it to you, or Deanna may explain it to you. You know what we need to do too? We need to play. Go ahead. You go ahead, Deanna.
Okay. So how it happens is once a placement is requested, which means they took your podcast, introduced your podcast to a company, and that company's like, yes, we want to advertise on their podcast. What they'll do is they will send you a script. And in this script, they'll tell you, hey, say these words, don't say these words, use this type of verbiage, but definitely you have to say this at the end. So they'll give you like some guidelines on how you can do it. I've had it where, like, let's say it's a product company like Blue Apron. They will, before it even, they'll try to get it to you before your first ad runs, but they'll tell you, hey, send us your information, and they will send you meals. You just have to tell them what your meal preference is, and then you go through the process of trying it out. And then on your ad, they'll tell you, give personal experience, or here are some points that you can discuss. But for the call to action, they'll say this is a must read, which means you have to say, get your such and such and such and such at this. And then they'll give you a specific code to use. So anytime anybody clicks that link and purchases, they know it came from your podcast.
Oh yeah, so they definitely track you. There's no doubt about it.
They definitely
in
track
most cases.
So they'll send you.
That's an ad for a company that you would put in your podcast. What I'm asking about is an ad for my podcast. I have to come up with an ad for my podcast to go into the other people's, like I'm on Advertise cast already right now.
Right. So right now you're talking about
for that, right?
You're talking about cross-platform though, is what you're particularly talking about. Cross-posting. Is that what you're focused on?
Well, because like the ad that, like what Deanna was talking about, that's like a company would reach out, but a company is not going to reach out if they don't feel like your podcast is. So how do you even get to the point where a company would even reach out to you to put an ad on your podcast?
Okay, so number one, get attention. Number two, get to 500 downloads a week. So that answers that question, but I'm going into more detail. Number three, find a marketplace. And then number four, I forget what number four was. 1, 2, I didn't say it, but I had it. It was something, you only need 4 steps. 1, 2, 3. If you find a marketplace, and then number 4, that's actually it. That's it. That's it. Go ahead, Deanna.
It's
But,
also
but I still need to answer this question though. I still need to
Right.
answer the question, but go ahead.
it's also your consistency in uploads. If they see that you're active, it's the because I know with Antonio, the more like the consistency in the uploads of podcast episodes also brings attention to you.
Okay, so time, no doubt. Time out. Everybody, time out. Y'all are like everything in this particular case is working against you understand this information. You're not, nobody's doing anything wrong, but it's working against y'all acting like me. Don't act like me, right? Do not act like me. Act like this version of me, not that version of me. You're either being quiet, which is actually a terrible thing right now. It's the worst thing you could possibly do right now, because we're talking about money falling into your lap. I'm not telling you to talk, but that's one thing working against you, particularly on this thing, because there's a billion questions I should be answering here, because monetizing your podcast is one of the hardest things to do for the regular person. It's one of the easiest things to do, but nobody's giving away the information. So you should have a billion questions right here. That's number one. Please write down, Grace, when I'm saying working against you. What's working against you is too much silence. What's also working against you is you have something in your head and you want it to work that way. You can't. So that's a second thing. And then the third thing that's working against you is you're thinking about this as B2B. There is no such thing as B2B, business to business. There is no such thing as business to business. I have a whole business to business podcast. It's a phrase, because this would be a lot easier to understand if you recognize at the end of that business is a human. So when Tracy wisely said, well, I mean, how do you even get them to go to podcast? Because if they look and they don't even want to join, yeah, that's accurate. If they look at your podcast and don't want to go, it has nothing to do with they don't like your podcast. Humans want bang for their buck. So what's happening is people will pick a podcast with just 500 downloads. You know why? There's no bots. There's no phantom users. There's just a real intimate audience that can actually convert if it matches their particular demographic and target audience. So do not despise your measly 1,000 followers, because it's the greatest 1,000 followers on the planet. To you and your insecurity is a measly 1,000 followers. Most of you see, this is a huge problem with regular people and trying to make money. Y'all want big things. It is far more profitable for Phil and Susan to build a podcast in which 12,000 people listen to them. 2,300 people listen to them religiously than it is to have a podcast that reach 35,000 people. It makes no sense. I can assure you that some of y'all podcasting topics make no sense to me. They make sense to you. They don't make no sense to me. You know why I built the B2B podcast? Because like if you Google, damn, do me a favor. Go to Google real quick. This is why I built the B2B podcast. I want you to Google, like I go actual Google, and I want you to Google top ranked B2B podcast and just see what pops up. And I want y'all to see something. This podcast is not even opt-in. Oh yeah, it is. That's a lie. No. Hold on. You scroll down. We're looking for a LinkedIn article. And I kept wondering, why in the hell am I getting, why are you going that slow, Greg? I can see far faster than that.
Oh, sorry. I forget.
Yeah. Yeah, just type in LinkedIn right after it. Type in LinkedIn right after it. And let's see what happens. Let's see, you scrolling. LinkedIn. All right, whatever. LinkedIn. All right, somewhere in a Google search, I kept figuring out why the hell I keep getting emails all the time. There's a guy who wrote a LinkedIn article with a huge following and has my B2B podcast like number 3 out of all LinkedIn podcasts. She'll find it. Something like 3, B2B podcast. This podcast is, while it is monetized, it's not monetized like Secret to Success, but there's like 17,000 super loyal people that just wait for me to drop an episode. That is far more. If you ask me what's my most successful podcast, I'm going to tell you the one y'all never heard of. It's B2B. Actually, that'll be my number 2 successful podcast. The Law of Attraction podcast is my most successful podcast by far. Those people reach out to me on a consistent basis. It's incredible when you think about, if I tell y'all for sure that my Secret to Success podcast generates me in ad revenue $100, my Law of Attraction podcast in revenue generates to me $100 tops a month. It's got way more listeners. I just don't really monetize it. But as far as actual revenue, it's something like $10,000 a month. Because having a following that wants to be there is far more profitable than having a following who just follows you. Far more profitable. So I just want to pause real quick, because the question is, how do you monetize your podcast? And before I get into the do this, do that, none of that is going to work if you don't have this foundational understanding that as long as you have an audience, somebody wants to jump in front of it. And if I can get you to receive this, that is not about the methods. That's what we, and Antonio, you killed me with that, Antonio. Tell me the steps. No, not on this subject. Not, please, I beg of thee, not on this subject. Don't worry about the step-by-step guide on this subject. Worry about building the audience. All right, send that link down and add it to the as seen by us or something. Look, 12 sales podcast. Okay, that's what it was. I should have said sales podcast. There you go. She found it somehow. Look, number 2, B2B from A to Z. And I kept saying, why in the hell am I keep getting emails? That's an official LinkedIn, like that's one of those LinkedIn approved things. And I kept figuring out that's just a bunch of people who genuinely want to learn sales. And the crazy thing is, Tracy, that's how ATS started off, as a sales university. That's how it started off. All right, back up before I'm going to get back to Tracy, but I need to answer her first. But listen to me. If there's one time for you not to worry about the step-by-step, I'm going to give it to you. But if there's ever been an opportunity for you not to worry about step-by-step, this is it now. Get an audience is the only step. You will accidentally monetize your podcast if you get an audience. People will email you, period. They'll beg you to be interviewed on it. They would genuinely email you. There would be PR representatives to say, hey, Tracy, great to meet you today. I have a client that I think would be a great guest for your podcast. I get 10 of these emails a day.
And I think that's what my original question should have been, because that's what I'm like, when you said number 1 is get attention.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's my question, how to get attention, because when I put out a new podcast, like I'm putting it out on Facebook and social media to try to let people know that the podcast is there. But I don't see other people putting podcasts like 30-second promos
Understood.
on social media to push people to go watch your podcast. So that's my question. How do you get the attention for people to even know you have a podcast out
Understood.
there?
So let's make the rest of this podcast about that very question. I guess it is a podcast technically, but let's make the rest of this about that. Let's make the rest of this about that, because that's far more valuable. Plus you had energy, and I saw some heads nodding, and then Renee leaned in like this. Come on, girl, you need to talk, right? So I'm sure that you are helping people, but I first need to conclude one for the people who did want to know how to. There's always different learners. Like, hold on, before I show this, there's always different. I always have to talk to at least 4 different major type of people. And somebody is like, I hear that, but I still want to know the step by step. I have to. I have no choice. I have to. So let me just conclude this real quick. Here's the podcast, Secret to Success. Deanna, so you didn't upload, not in a bad way. You didn't upload the podcast from yesterday. No, I don't mean that bad. Just take Grace's title and put part 1. Because I don't know if you heard me at the beginning. I wanted the title changed. Yeah, I wanted the title changed. And so yeah, that's what I'm bringing it up. All right, here we go. I'm going to hit play because I have to answer something Tracy asked was green.
Hot mess right there.
One of y'all.
This summer, TXU Energy is back.
Okay, y'all muted. All right, here we go. Listen.
Ultimate Summer Pass, starting 50% off energy charges all summer.
Everybody run for automatic energy.
All right, answer one of Tracy's questions. That obviously ain't me. That's 7 seconds in.
Plus free energy on the hottest day.
So one of these questions is, when you monetize your podcast, other people will just have recordings for you they want you to put on there. All right. She asked another question in there. Well, what about when I record my own podcast? Same energy, Tracy, except for that being TXU Energy. That's a Texas energy company, y'all. I forget what X stands for, but it's Texas. It's a Texas light company, like electricity. So Tracy, you just do the same thing. You produce your own high quality thingamabobby and then put it on somebody else's. So that's a way. What Deanna was explaining was there's host reads to where the audience doesn't want it to look like an ad. Y'all hear this a lot on the radio. In which you hear somebody go, you hear, I'm gonna just use Mad Hatter, because this is a Houston thing. I know. Yeah, this is a Houston thing. I'm gonna use Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter is a Houston thing. You know, the radio DJ. And you listen to the song, and he goes, and all of a sudden it goes, and Matt Hatter starts talking. Jay, my washing machine messed up. Man, it messed up. Yeah, it messed up, man. Man, you ought to go down to Shabana Motors and get you a car, because Shabana Motors stay on the radio down here.
Stay on the radio. Shabana Motors gives $10,000 every year.
All right, do y'all see that? Okay. All right, dear. That's a host read, because that audience, that advertiser understands that Adonia is a brand. And those people don't want to hear from the professional white guy with the movie voice. It was the middle of the night and bombs crashed. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear Adonia and her brand read that ad like she actually uses the product. So there's 2 different ways to do that. Y'all get it? There's host reads, in which you make it your own. They give you talking guides and they say, but please make it your own. And then there are, boom, like, the commercials you see on TV. Have you ever felt not fresh? Well, I mean, they on TV, or apparently when you get herpes, you have a great life and you run down the beach at dawn. So I'm the only person that sees these commercials.
Oh yeah.
They run on the beach.
No,
It's like if you have AIDS, everyone's like, woo, yummy.
Okay, so I'm living such a great life now. I'm physically fit now. You get it. Those commercials, while they work, if you have Trinace, who is a brand, and you looking for a product that resonates with middle-aged sassy women, you don't want in a world where you want Trinace going, listen here, y'all, and spitting out, her stuff. All right, y'all get it. So that answers that question. Now we can make this all about getting attention. Cool. All right, good. All right. Because somebody was going to be very mad, Grace, but you didn't teach me. And that's not what I wanted. And I understand. I completely understand. Okay. There is a lot to talk about here. I'm not even sure, Jerome, if you are going to receive it all, because Tracy asked the holy grail of questions. How do I get attention? What she's really asking is, how do I get people to take my personal brand serious, which we could talk about for the next 16 weeks. So I have to organize this. You understand? You asked a hell of a question, Tracy. Okay. So I have to organize this and give it to you with as much value as possible. So everybody, I want you to do, I need to frame your thinking. And if I can get 2 more people, Chef Jay, if you're not busy, I need 2 or 3 more people, to act like Tracy. I know Jerome gonna do it. To act like Tracy, and I need y'all, Deanna, I'm making you the 3rd. I need at least 2 more people for high quality value to you.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yes.
I got my
Okay, so I got Renee. I've got Janice. I'm gonna put you in there because you for the launch your product. So I got Janice. I got Ibrahim. I got Ibrahim. Write these names down for me, Grace. Ibrahim, Janice, Renee, Tracy, Deanna, Jerome. Thank you. For whatever reason, your screen moved on me. The screen moved on me. So what I need you 5 people to do, put those names out for me, Grace, is at any time, interrupt me, but also I'm gonna call upon you. But the only requirement I ask of you is I need you to be as selfish as possible. I need you to come from F all that, Antonio, forget them. It's all about me. I got this question for me. I need that. That's the energy I need. Okay. Deanna said, no problem. I can get that done for you. That's the energy I need because this is such a big topic. And in order to give you the fullest value, I need questions that I'm not going to think about, and I need them to come from a pissed off place or I'm tired of this place. Those are 2 different things. Or hold on, I'm confused place. Okay, I need to come from that. You got one right now. Go ahead.
How the hell?
That's perfect energy.
Past. Don't nobody really want to hear what I got to say because there's already 2 million people out there saying what I got to say just to record 1 podcast episode.
Y'all are not going to like my answer.
Go on, Deanna, girl.
Yes. Y'all are not going to like my answer here, but it's only 1 answer. And I know you don't like it, but you have to advertise. You have to. And just listen to me. Just listen to me. The same way you have to use the restroom every day. Like, even if you are in a coma, your body says, F all that coma stuff. We got to use the restroom. You must advertise. You cannot. And my God, listen, wait. Write this down as I say it, Grace. You make a fatal mistake attempting to monetize before you create a brand. Fatal. Okay. You make a fatal.
Hey, Antonio.
Talk to me, my man.
So if you watch the movie The Social Network, Mark Zuckerberg had a falling out with his partner precisely because he didn't want to monetize too early. He said ads won't be cool. Now, Facebook is literally a place where you go to watch ads that are highly personalized. But guess what isn't? Threads. No ads there right now.
Yep, you're right. And I'll be honest with you, I have a feeling that Zuck is going to keep threads simple, clean, and neat, and for the most part without ads. And I'm gonna tell you why I think that, because Instagram is running mobile. And the last thing you want to do is create another Instagram. You want to create another excuse to dominate mobile. Because if you're really paying attention now, you're basically going from Instagram to Threads, back to Threads to Instagram. And that is killing the TikTok problem. I need you to receive TikTok. Yeah, go ahead.
And the key point here, returning to it, is that he's already gotten to 100 million subscribers or users quicker than ChatGPT.
That's right.
ChatGPT is monetized. Zuckerberg is like, no ads on Threads yet. And he did the same thing with Facebook. Once it became the world's largest social network, he still hadn't put ads on it because he doesn't want to monetize too early. He wants to dominate, then he wants to solidify his dominion, and then he wants to run ads once you have nowhere else to go. Once MySpace shuts shop, then he'll run ads.
That's right. That's right. He's absolutely correct. Ibrahim could be more correct, but I can tell you, both me and Ibrahim understand what Zuck is doing. Collecting that data, figuring out what makes you move, what makes you tick, so he can then brand to 100 million people individually like it was just you. That's what he's working on. I can guarantee you that for sure. I can guarantee you that for sure. You make a fatal mistake, my friends, when you monetize before you brand. And guess what you are taught every day, Janice? Monetize. This is our problem. It ain't my problem. I get in trouble for going too slow or doing too much or having like 12 companies at one time. But when you really think about it, I'm a genius at personal brand. That's what I'm actually doing.
So question there, because
the
brand of the podcast is different from, like, the podcast is different, but is it still under the brand? Like, is it, do I need to be getting brand for my podcast? Because I didn't go into trying to monetize. So it's literally been 1 year, like this month makes a year that I started my podcast. And so now I'm like, how do I build that brand so that it can start monetizing? I'm looking and I have downloads and I have people watching, but how do, like, what else do I need to do besides putting it out on social media? Because you're saying build the brand, but what else do I need to do?
Perfection. So glad you just asked that. I'm going to answer your question succinctly. And half the people are not going to like what I'm about to say. But I'm still going to answer it. I'm going to share my screen and answer your question. Here is this new thing called Facebook. I just approved somebody that I met last night. Here is my fan page. I'm going to go to Tracy Armstrong. And there she is. My uncle would say, pretty little girl, filled out nicely. My uncle, stay away from him, Tracy. Stay away from him. Stay away from him. He's something else. He's something else.
Stop it.
He is. Watch this here. Tracy is a speaker. Got it. Tracy is a speaker. Good. Tracy is a, well, that's an updated picture. Okay. Tracy is a, okay, that's an updated cover. Tracy is a speaker. Okay, got it. Tracy is a speaker. Got it. Tracy is a speaker. Got it. Tracy is a speaker. Got it. Tracy, just in case you missed the keys to handle speaking again. Got it. Tracy is, oh, another Zoom speaker. Got it. Tracy is a, is this a go webinar speaker? Got it. Tracy, if y'all on audio, I'm going, every time I say she's a speaker, I'm going through her page. Criticisms can easily be avoided by saying nothing. Okay, she used another video. She did a good, whatever you call this thing here, caption. Tracy is a coach, or at least a captioner of correction and inspiration. Got it. Are you consistently? Okay, so she's self-help. Tracy is a speaker of self-help. Got it. Follow your dreams. Tracy is a motivator, self-help. Got it. Tracy is, okay, have you been empowered? Great. Empowerment speaker. That's her. Tracy is a speaker. That's her. Tracy is a speaker. That's her. Tracy, that's her interview, her podcast. Tracy, ooh, Sandra, you're looking good. Tracy is a speaker. That's her. Tracy's a selfie taker. Okay, she's a selfie taker. Life is, you have to, oh, nope. She's a speaker, a motivator. There's the caption. There it is. She's a speaker. Tracy is a speaker. Everybody unmute your mic right now and clap for Tracy. She gets it, whether she knows it or not, because I'm going to show you an adverse example. I'm serious. Unmute your mic, clap.
Yay, Tracy.
Oh,
Right.
Now, let me show you the opposite. Okay. I have no idea who I'm going to. Let's just
you
go
can
to
on my page.
Okay, then let's go to DeaunnaMarie. Let's see real quick. All right, let's go to
Miss Sandra posts on my page more than I do.
Deanna is a picture taker.
Go to mine and
Picture
tell me
taker.
what I'm not.
Okay. Deanna is a song listener. She's a picture taker. She's a picture taker captioner.
Oh yeah,
She's
you
a
gotta-
picture taker captioner. Wait a minute, hold on. She's a picture taker captioner. Okay, she sells things. Full moon. Same thing. Full moon. So, but all intents and purposes, and no disrespect to the queen, Deanna is not worthy of a clap because I can't tell what the hell she's doing.
Exactly. You got to go to my group page too. I got 2 pages.
Oh, you got 2 pages. Where's your group page? Go ahead.
It's you got to go to your groups because you're a member.
Oh, group page. Got it. Group. You did say group. Sorry. Is it called Deanna?
No, it's Connected Life.
Oh, well, that if you said that, that makes sense. I don't understand group
Your
page.
group, I signed up for it. I didn't know that was you though.
Oh yeah, that was me.
Okay, shame on you for not knowing. I mean, for her not knowing that was you. Shame.
And right. Okay, that's the first one.
Right here.
Yep, that's
Oh yeah,
it.
you changed it. Okay, you changed it. Good. Now what's up, Salone? Good job.
You're not a part of the group.
I am now. I didn't even know this group existed, and I'm like kiss you in the mouth. So yeah, just saying. Okay.
Before you were in there.
Hold on. I'm showing y'all something.
That's my
Before
fault.
you monetize, brand.
Amen.
A lot of y'all page, if I go to it, I don't know who you are. And if I'm confused, my money's confused.
Mm-hmm.
Go to mine, Antonio.
Antonio, do my website.
I am.
Antonio, do my website.
I'm like,
Okay,
go to
I do
my
both of
group.
y'all.
You're in my group. Go to my
Okay, shit. Well, I just went to who said go to Tracy? I just went to your page. Ibrahim, what's your website? Is it the I am Ibrahim, the right?
Yeah, that's the one. It's in chat.
Oh, it's in the chat. Sweet. Ah, yeah. Okay, that's what I thought it was. That's what I thought you were talking about. Good. Oh, hold on. I tried to put it Instagram.com/Ibrahim. There we go. All right. Cartoonist, creative writer. Writer, creative, cartoons. Got it. I am Ibrahim Dar, a cartoonist. Makes sense. My writing must be a chore to read. Okay. So now he's showing a cartoonist. I have penned over 2 million words. Must not be a chore. Oh yeah, there you go. Must not be a
and
chore.
also read the first sentence because my brand is all about humor. So completely read the first sentence.
I am Ibrahim Dar, a cartoonist and author who began his career ghostwriting apologies for neglectful husbands. My superpower is that I get bored too easily to tolerate bland writing that actually should have been read in full. My writing must not be a chore. That's my highest priority. This page is excellent. You know why this page is excellent? May I show you why this page is excellent? Let me show you why this page is excellent. I'm gonna hide my little floating controls. I'm gonna go back to Facebook. I'm gonna show you why this page is excellent. I'm gonna come right here to Facebook, and I'm gonna do something called log out. I know y'all don't know what that is. I know you don't. I know you don't log out. But can someone tell me? This is not the email to my Facebook page at all. Can someone tell me how many things are on this page? Can somebody? Oh, you got the email.
Just the login.
Just the login. Can someone tell me what's on this page? Just what he wants you to know.
Exactly.
Only what he wants you to know to convert. Where is his? I was raised by the lake, and my church was founded in, wait, I couldn't say church for him. My mosque was founded in 1953. We've had, so this is what we do with our brands, right? We put a bunch of this. I'm gonna show you again. We'll keep Ibrahim open. We'll keep this one open. Watch this here. Apple.com. Surely Apple.com is going to tell you about Steve Jobs and how he founded a such company and blah, blah, blah. Surely Apple is going to tell you how it's a $3 trillion net market cap right now. Surely Apple is going to tell you that in 1981, we did some stuff. No, MacBook Air, 15-inch, new product. I don't know. I really need y'all to pay attention to this. Apple, on its homepage, it's pretty simple. Wait a minute. One product, a cartoonist that they clearly stole from Ibrahim, the humor here. And then iPhone 14 Pro, iPhone 14 Pro again, the new thing they just announced, the Vision Pro, the iPad Pro, the watch, the finesse, the card. That's it. And then Apple TV. Now, wait a minute. All these things Apple have, and they're not overwhelming you? Wait a minute. Surely Google is telling you everything about what Google has. Let's go to google.com and see what google.com has on it, because surely, move, Google. What you doing? Move. My thingy. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. You made me think my modem was restarting this time. There we go. Oh, my VPN. Google don't like my VPN. I'm sorry. Does Google have a lot of stuff on it? No, this is called branding. Watch this here. If I view the page source, you then see a bunch of code concerning this. The truth is, if I went to the actual code, I got billions of lines of code just to run this. Here's my point. Before you try to look well, look good, brand. We're answering the question, how do I make money with my podcast? It's a flawed question. Why do I give a damn about your podcast? It's the proper question. That's the proper question. And you have to choose how you want to go. In my case, I understood two things, and I got it from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Oh no, Cash Flow Quadrant. One of them. I have no idea. I don't know if it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, but they both came out back to back. Cash Flow Quadrant and following with the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I understand this much about people, Susan. There are two types. They're the type that go to the Walmart or the discount store, the superstore, and they demand a discount for a $3 product because the box is chipped. And they demand a discount for this. Or they say, well, this $11 product was priced at $8, so I want it for this price. I, Susan, don't necessarily like those people. Not my cup of tea. There's another type of customer. In America, they go to Target. They don't go to Walmart. They go to Target. And then this type of customer likes to pay a little bit more for the experience. That would be Adonia. And then there's a third type of customer. Ibrahim markets to this customer. Antonio markets this customer. Antonio bodies this customer. Grace's pastor is this customer. These are the folk who spend $200 on something that costs 99 cents. And that, my friends, is where you need to control your brand. Yes, they keep telling Apple to lower their prices. Yes, Apple keeps telling you, yes, we will not. Apple says every year, yes, we will not lower our prices. That's an Android thing. And every year, every single year, somebody comes out with a new phone that rivals Samsung. That's a Samsung problem. Samsung makes really good phones for affordable rates. And every year, somebody rivals that phone. So now the smartphone war is no longer between Apple, Samsung. It used to be. Now it's Apple, Android. Samsung has genuinely helped y'all out so much. They're third in the conversation now, because Android is the software. That's Google. So you can either sell this, what I got from Robert Kiyosaki. You can either sell your board game for $297 or for $2.97. Antonio's podcast is like Apple. Antonio's podcast is like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan got 3-hour episodes. Antonio 2. I'm not telling you it's right, Tracy. I'm just telling you I chose my path. If you're listening to Antonio, there's two things for sure. I'm what you call a polymath. There's back in the day, they call it a Renaissance man. I am a genius. I have genius level talent and IQ in multiple things. And it makes no sense. My personality test from both the Army and other personality tests says I use both parts of my brain equally. And what is that? My personality profile for Myers-Briggs is INTJA, the architect, 0.02% of the planet. This means that I am a poet. I am. Some of you have seen me do poetry before, but I'm also a mathematician. That makes no damn sense. I'm a computer programmer, but I'm a musician. I am a religious scholar and a quantum physicist. My brain operates at 2. So when you get to my podcast, Tracy, ain't no telling what the hell you gonna hear on my podcast. If you join this call, there's no telling what you're gonna hear. And I don't have to distinguish that, because everybody knows coming to Antonio is a ride. Therefore, I chose my brand. If y'all want to monetize right now, in the middle of this conversation, choose ye this day whom you will serve. You're going to serve the 15-minute crowd that listen to the podcast real quick in between making a fruit smoothie in the morning, or you're going to serve the 50-minute crowd. I only listen to Janice on my commute to work. It's up to you. I promise you, I am saying so much in such a little time. You have to choose right now. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm listening. And
hear
I'm
you.
the person that be asking for the discount on some messed up product. I know, which means when you're saying that, I'm thinking that's who I'm marketing to also.
Do you like that crowd?
Well, no, because that's the crowd that won't pay or won't doubt. It'll be a quick, let me listen for 10 minutes or whatever. Oh, sound good, gotta go. So that's the question. How do you get to be an Apple product? Like, how do I get my brand to be an Apple brand to that client? Because that makes so much sense. Because my daughter's an Apple, I'm a Droid, and I spend the money no matter what Apple says the price is. So how do I get my brand? Because what I want to do now, I want to add another podcast to what I'm doing, and I want to take my book, like you were saying, and take the book and make the book into a podcast. But I want to build that brand on it and try to kind of like double up with the book and the podcast, being able to get more exposure?
Yeah, no, this is a very most fantastic question. Answer number one is start an OnlyFans page. No, I'm joking. I couldn't resist. I could not resist. Nobody saw it coming. It was too funny. To me, it was funny. That's not the answer. That's not even close to the answer. It's not even close. Know that if you have built an audience that you do not want, I'm still laughing in my head. If you have built an audience that you do not want, you are going to have a rough transition. And that's okay. Receive me first. Then I just need you to receive that the people who made you who you are going to hate when you change on them. They still want the old Kanye. They literally want the old Kanye and not the billionaire Kanye. You're not hearing me. They really want the Kanye on medication, making hot music that has something like a $16 million net worth. They do. If you shift on your audience that made you, they feel like they own you. Ibrahim done sold out. He done went Hollywood. Come on, we've all said it and we've all heard it said. Fool me not. So Tracy, your particular case, that's going to happen to you. And guess what? So what? Do you want to be dependent upon an audience, or do you want to have a brand that is infallible and unbreakable? I sure hope y'all catching some of these vibes today. The goal is to build indestructible income. It is not to be dependent on the avenue in which you make your income. Tracy, your answer is easy. Kill it now.
Wait a minute. Say that again. That was good.
Okay.
Say that again about building indestructible income, not depending on the avenue. Say that.
That's right. Your goal is to build indestructible income, not to be dependent on the avenue in which you make your income.
One
Okay?
more, but slower.
I got you. Your goal is to build indestructible income, not to be dependent on the avenue in which you build your income. Take the pain now. I had to do it. I literally had to bust a Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus went from
Hannah
Montana to naked on a wrecking ball. She had to, though, because her beautiful voice wouldn't work, killing that image of that blonde wig that Disney put on her. She would never be successful today. I had to do the same thing. I had to go from Rev Tony to you know how hard it was, Susan, to tell the church world I'm going to be rich? It was impossible, for God's sake. I lost my soul. Blah, blah, blah. But you know what church folk don't do, Jerome? Spend money. How many of you got a church crowd? Fool me not now. How's that working out for you?
I would have thought they'd like that because then you'd be giving them more money.
True. I had a black church, small church, two different churches, Susan.
Yeah. And I've never seen that in the churches we've been a part of. I mean,
many churches have a kingdom-minded attitude.
Yeah.
When you come from the church culture I had, nah, you can't even.
They like the people that, are professionals. They're the ones that are, doing all the ushering and doing all the other things.
That is true. That is true. Saddleback, what's Saddleback church name? What's that guy name?
You mean Dr. David Jeremiah?
Dr. David Jeremiah with Saddleback churches in
yeah.
California. Well, you know him. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Ron.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah, he's a champion of Celebrate Recovery. He invented it.
It's been around a long time.
Yeah.
I can.
Yep.
Phil knows who that is.
Yeah, I got it in my notes because I got a book from Rick Warren. God dog it. Rick
I knew it started with an R, but I couldn't think.
Yeah, he has a church like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the Stanley, you just sent me a podcast. I did listen to it about Andy Stanley. It wasn't Andy Stanley, it was one of Andy Stanley people. I did listen to it. Fantastic. Fantastic. When you're
Antonio?
yes, Grace. Yes.
Real quick, I was listening to the radio one day and I heard Rick Warren and his church got ousted out of the, I'm going to say their association because I don't know the correct term for it, because he decided to ordain women as preachers.
Okay, see, this is
So we're not having that. We're not having that.
all right.
Oh, another fun fact about the Sorrentinos on 7-Eleven. We were married back in 81 by a female.
Oh, you sinners. Oh.
Actually, it was 82. We met in 81. Yeah.
Sinners.
Yeah.
That's too funny. That's too funny. Tracy, receiveth thee that when you change, it's going to hurt. So what? It's just going to hurt temporarily. You have to do it because you can't build indestructible income with people who think they own you.
And it's okay, Tracy. You're at the beginning right now. So
Right. You better do it now than later.
I wouldn't sweat about that.
No, that'll take you 3 months. You'll be good. That'll take you
So
3.
with that being said, how long did it take? And I know everybody's different, and I know everybody's podcast is different,
Yep.
but I know I don't expect it to have happened, within the first year. But like, I know your podcast has taken off, but how long did it take for you to actually start making money off of it? Let's just say that whatever the most successful one is.
The real secret to success, as far as monetizing go, the real answer is Deanna did it. That's the real answer. Because I couldn't figure out how to monetize it. She came in and typed a few buttons. All of a sudden, I was getting paid. That's the real answer. So I don't want to take away her credit. So I'll give you 2 answers because one, how long did it take? It took longer than what it should have because I was dumb. But removing that, Deanna had to save me there. It took me so I give you 3 answers now. I'll go from having to build the audience from scratch, from zero. And then once I knew who I was and told people who I was and I ain't moving, it was no problem at all. But from building from scratch to where it started actually making me money that I could make a difference was about 5 years. Posting every day. Or at least consistently, maybe not every day, but consistently, at least once a week, consistently.
When you say posting, are you posting like about the podcast? And is that posting, are you posting about the brand?
Very good question. Posting about the well, both actually, but no, posting about the podcast. I was putting episodes on the podcast, whatever I was recording. In my particular case, I start off at personal development. I'm actually already in personal development. Y'all just don't know. Yeah, you just can't see it, but trust me, it's there. It's to another audience, just not the business audience, but it's taken off so I can get back to where I'm natural at. And it started with a Plant Better Mindset phone call. And this particular call was 1 hour, and I would post that every Sunday. So every Monday or Sunday night, it would go up, and I did that consistently. And then it went to sales, and then it went to business, and then it went to blah, 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 blah. I still have maybe 15,000 hours unpublished episodes I need to put up. We just don't have time to do it. We genuinely just don't have time to do it. So it was literally recordings of what I do on that podcast, period. That's how it started off. And if you go, I got 1,100 plus episodes on Secret to Success right now. And if you go back to the first one, that podcast came out of necessity because Tippins got busy and then we kind of killed brick by brick. So I started a new one, and it would start off with like 7-minute episodes of me just talking, and grew as my audience demanded more from me. And then turned into what it is today. And then I start just documenting everything, and I just start recording everything. And then every time I record, it went up, edited or not, it went straight up. I don't even edit podcasts. If it happened, it happened. That's my genuine, authentic brand, because that's Antonio. The idea of Antonio putting something polished out doesn't really fit my brand. It doesn't. I'm polished naturally, and you're going to get whatever you get. And I know how to go up to college level. I know come down, whatever. So you pretty much get the unedited version. The only way I'll edit something is you say something. I've only edited 2 of my podcasts, and both times some mate said, I'm going to kill my spouse. And I was like, yeah, we're just going to take that out. That's just not going to be in there. Those are the only 2 times that I have had to edit a podcast, because, you know, you go to jail, you're not going to go with my assistants. You understand, Jerome? You got to go by yourself. I can't promote that. You got to go by yourself. Now, let's make this a bit more practical. Now that you know you need to change your audience, here's how you get attention. There's only 5 things you need to be successful as an entrepreneur. But once again, number 1 comes up with attention. So you need to write this down. If you want to build a personal brand, there's 5 things you really need to understand. I'm trying into entrepreneurship. Number 1 is you need to get attention. Please know this. I haven't said this in years. It's coming back up. Anytime you desire to make money, number 1 is going to always be attention. Number 2 is what you're going to do after that is you're going to build a congregation. I'm intentionally not saying following. I'm intentionally not saying community. I'm intentionally using my words the way I desire to do so. Congregation. That's a congregation of Muslims, congregation of Christians, congregation of Jews, congregation of men hating women, congregation of men loving women, congregation of this man is a piece of trash, whatever. It needs to be a congregation. So let's define congregation. A congregation is a bunch of people who have nothing in common, but then they find something in common on this one idea, become best friends, and freely give to it. That's Antonio's definition of a congregation. I got you. A congregation is a group of people who have nothing in common, but then find something in common, usually one idea, then become best friends and freely give to that idea. I will give you an example. Me and Ibrahim have nothing in common, but we got everything in common because I'm more Muslim than I am Christian. Let me just tell you, I'm a great Muslim. I really am. More Muslim than I am Christian. I really am. I'm a terrible Christian. More Muslim than I am Christian. And that gives us this solid foundation in which we agree. And from there, a lot of other things flow from it. I'm not from Pakistan. We both speak many languages, different languages. And you've got to remember, English is learned by Ibrahim. He does it very well. Every now and then, you'll hear him slip into some Farsi or something. Every now and then. It's very rare. Very rare. But you'll hear him. He does it all the time, but you'll hear him. If you pay attention. We freely give to his books, my books, etc. Because when you agree on an ideal or an idea, the only thing you can do with that is fund that thing. Me and Susan have nothing in common, but we got everything in common because salvation is important. There I go being a good Christian again, Jerome. Yeah, came back to good Christian land. Now we have everything in common and everything flows from that. A congregation is a bunch of people that you wouldn't have never met if it wasn't for this idea that you share. You never met. What does a Trump supporter look like? They look like a lot. We can't even say they all white no more. We can't even say they're all men. You know how many women support Trump? It's astonishing. It's astonishing. I know, right? It's astonishing how many women support Trump. but they have an idea.
I have
Once
many friends that do that. I never mention.
I know they,
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
They're not my really close friends, but
Right,
they're my
understood.
friends, mothers from the school and all that carry on through once they
Completely understand.
graduated.
Yeah, you never know how different you are from your family till it's Thanksgiving time and y'all sitting at a table. You find out then for sure. Congregation is better than a community. So if you build a community, that's fine because you're kind of building a congregation. But please know, a congregation, when Ibrahim was asked about his wife, that's a congregation of women. And let me tell you something. Once you build a congregation, it's always people that's going to hate it. There are places in the world in which women still can't drive to this day or get educated. That's a congregation.
Antonio?
Yep.
Right. But Antonio, that's because of skill. They literally cannot do it.
Right. Oh my God, no. I said right. I thought he said scale. I thought he said scale. He played too much. Go ahead. I muted you by accident.
Renee. Oh my bad. No, I just had a question because when we started our podcast, I was just really wanting to get it to, put it out there because I was like, yeah, we should have a podcast to be, but
right.
I did that before the personal branding. So now where does that leave?
Well, at least you're in a good spot.
The podcast because we didn't have a personal brand. I mean, because now Jay and me are working on our own individual brands, but we wanted to do this podcast together. So I'm like,
no, you're perfect.
Does that kind of leave this kind of SOL?
No, not at all. If you started something without thinking about personal brand, good job. You started because the folk trying to build their personal brand ain't start jack. You're doing a good job. Starting is a great job. Don't ever think you're messed up by starting. Congratulations, you started. Now become clear on what you want to present yourself as. Just my advice to you, though, is be authentic. I can't make you be authentic. But it's easier to brand when you're authentic because people got BS radars and they're sensitive.
That number 3, be authentic.
No. I was just answering a question. Like, trust me, Adonia knows if you mean well or not. Even if she don't know, she know. And if she confused, it's because something in here saying, don't do it. and she's not gonna do it. She's not gonna do it. Okay, go ahead, Renee. I think you want to follow up.
Yeah. Well, thank you, because I was just kind of like, okay, and I'm starting a different pod, a podcast outside of us. So I'm like, okay, but now that I have a clear, for my personal brand, I know where to go with that, but I'm still going to be authentic. But I just was kind of wondering if we was out of luck because we're like, because at the end of the day, even though I'm a writer and I'm an author, but I'm a wife, and I really that's the intention that I had when we started this podcast. Is I was like, well, there's a lot of things that I'm learning, and then of course with some of the things that Jay's going through with his body, I said, we got something really to talk about because there are other couples out there like us, or even couples even other people that are thinking about getting married, and they need to look at somebody that is maybe not, I'm not gonna say around their age, but just somebody that's been in it for a while. So,
so
that was my intention when we first got the podcast. It still is.
No, fair enough. The heart of her answer that I'm going to give her, and this is like one of those simple answers, Susans, that nobody think of, but you really truly need to enjoy what you're doing to brand it. It's one of those simple answers, but it's I need to go into detail about this. Just because you're a wife doesn't mean you enjoy being a wife. You may enjoy being with your mate, but you don't enjoy being married. Trust me on this.
No, you're right.
Yeah, trust me on this. Deanna just enjoyed being married yesterday. Like she just got there. These are two different things. There's two different things. Just because you enjoy being with Tracy don't mean you enjoy the relationship.
Right.
You enjoy her. So
Sure.
so just so your wife don't start a marriage podcast. Let me push that further. Just because your wife don't start a podcast with your husband. Unless you are passionate about that. There is a distinction. Phil and Susan could pull that off. They need a break too, though, right? They like me and Deanna. We podcast from separate rooms. We're on Zoom from separate rooms. You got to do something to make it all work. Right? You have to think about that. For
Different offices, and sometimes I just call him as opposed to
yeah. Over there. This, this is one of those things. Just because you enjoy being a feminist doesn't mean you enjoy feminism. Adonia is a great example of that. Adonia enjoys being a feminist, enjoys having an opinion, but she don't agree with half the stuff that come out your mouth. And she has no problem to submitting to someone who is worthy of submission. So she's not going to start a feminism podcast. It won't match her brand. The reason why you got to enjoy it, because y'all can see that when Tracy brought up this personal brand, my energy changed. Because I enjoy teaching, and I enjoy teaching people how to make money from what I know people aren't going to help you with it. And that authenticity comes off as, I like that guy. And then people convert from there. It's really hard to do that when you don't. Number 3 is when you get that congregation, pay attention to that congregation's attention. Why on earth is Ibrahim building a cartoonist congregation? So I can leave them alone and ignore them? No, wrong answer. That's not what he's doing. He's getting 10,000, a bunch of reviews, and going to 100,000. And then what he's going to do is he's going to do what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. He's going to listen to them. He's going to install some software to see where they're logging in from. He going to post some stuff out just to see who paying attention. Like, if you bought my book, take a picture of it and use the hashtag this. And anybody who does it, see, he's not worried about who does it or how many he does it. He's just identifying the super fans who will take the time out to do it. Reminder, you have a proposal.
When it has the red next to it, you don't read it out loud.
Oh, yes, I do need that warning. Okay. Thank you so much. I do need that warning. Trinace is a feminist, but now she wants a husband to sweep off her feet. Should she start a Searching the Husband podcast? Maybe. Don't really jive with her, but should she start I Deserve to Be Spoiled and Kept and Somebody Take Responsibility for My Whole Life podcast? That would totally fit her brand. Personal brand. Once you get that congregation, Tracy, pay attention to what they paying attention to. If they on TikTok, you need to be on TikTok. You understand? But I don't like TikTok, so you don't want no money. So what you're telling me is, Tracy, you don't want your podcast to be successful. And after you follow, yep.
So I'm going back to something you said earlier about the posting consistently.
Yeah.
When you were saying posting consistently, you're talking about posting episodes of the podcast on a consistent basis on your marketplace.
Yes, but you can do it. But let's use the word consistent, but let's not determine the frequency for what consistent means.
Okay.
As of today, Mr. Beast, the YouTuber, makes $200,000 a day on his podcast. I mean, his YouTube channel, excuse me. He makes 200. Yeah, y'all listen to me? This man makes it would take 400 years for the average American to make what he makes in a month. It would just take that long. It would just take that long. He makes $200,000 an episode. I mean, a day from his podcast channel. From his YouTube channel. But he don't post. He don't have a consistency. But when he posts, it's epic. So his consistency posting thingy is I may post once a month, once every other month, but this is my frequency. When you get it, it's going to be to the level of a Netflix film, a Hollywood film, a Warner Studio Brothers film. So everyone just subscribes and waits for his next epic posting. We know it's coming, but it's not like I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
And just, I was going to send you something, and this was Mr. Beast posted. I don't know if y'all saw this on Threads. He's giving away a Tesla with the Threads logo on it.
See?
So it was like epic because people were like in your face, Elon Musk. So that was like one of those. I'll send it to you if you haven't seen it. It was on Threads.
Yeah, I see it. Y'all get it? Epic. So please don't confuse consistency with frequency. Although they're cousins and they are the same thing, I just want you to know that there are plenty of YouTubers that post infrequently, but consistently so epically that it is consistency. Consistency, I got you, Trace.
Antonio.
Yes, sir.
My favorite Drew Gooden is one of them.
Oh, who is it?
He's a commentary YouTuber, Drew Gooden.
Drew Gooden. Okay, got you. I typically follow who you suggest because we got the same thinking. Drew Gooden. Like it. Thank you so much. I got to pull it up. Yep. Okay. Trinace, go ahead because you're at work. Drew Gooden.
Okay, so I just got a 90-day subscription to Hootsuite.
Remember a couple months ago when I wasted?
Sorry, go ahead. I was on Drew Gooden's page.
So I just got a 90-day subscription for Hootsuite, and I haven't had Hootsuite in a year. And I've noticed that they've added YouTube to who you can post. So you can put your times, because I don't have time to be messing around every day. You can schedule your stuff and create your own consistency that way. If your concern is, am I posting every day? You can schedule it, but they recently added YouTube.
Okay, good. And the YouTube is too big to ignore, and it's way too big to fail, and it's also way too big to correct too. Like it is, any problems YouTube got gonna be there. It's too big to fix it. Too big for sure. Too big for sure. Now, number 4, after you have found what your customers are paying attention to, the obvious next step, Tracy, is to sell them whatever they're paying attention to. And here on the screen, you see Mr. Beast with the Threads logo. There you go. What was I going to say? Yes, you have to sell them what they're paying attention to. Yeah, go ahead.
I got it.
Yeah, you jump in front of that attention. That's their attention. Yeah, just sell it. This is what Antonio is doing. This is why the CRM works. This is why this is why that. This is why my audience now is becoming back to personal development, except for it's really focused on law of attraction and therapy. You know why? Because apparently I do these things so well, my law of attraction, but this is what my audience is demanding from me. Y'all may not know it, but if you listen to the Law of Attraction podcast, then you'll know it. You'll know it. And I'm known for law of attraction. If you just put it in ChatGPT, It's not on purpose. It just is my natural gift, not business. I study for business. I don't study for personal development. I study. Life punches me in the throat and I get it. Business, I have to study for and read every day. Study for and read every day. And the fifth thing is close the sale, Tracy. Close it. Have the fortitude to say, Janice, buy from me right now. That's the fifth one. A lot of you do a good job, but don't have the courage to ask for getting paid for doing a good job. Now, right there is how you become a personal brand. But let me break it down even more, and we're getting ready to end, so let me break it down even more so this can be very valuable to you. Antonio, I get that. You said you got to advertise, though. I'm broke, so how I'm going to do this? Say less. If you are broke, follow this schedule to start making money so you can advertise. Is this okay? Is this valuable? I ain't got it. So how can I make it? How about that? Is this anybody's spirit, or am I barking up the wrong tree? Okay, all right, at least Tracy. You're gonna post 4 times in the morning. Yep. That's early morning, kind of early morning, late morning. It ain't morning no more, basically. 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning.
Post what?
Well, good question. You're going to post a link. You're going to post some text-based only message. Then you're going to post a picture. And then you're going to post a video. You know why? Because there's something called post cannibalism. And if you post that, you can't cannibalize your own post, because the algorithms are going to feed links to people who like links, pictures to people who like pictures, and videos to people who like videos, and text to people who like text. You are welcome. I take a bow. And you're going to do that morning, afternoon, evening. You're going to do this. So your posting schedule now is at minimum 12 times a day. 4 different types of posts, 12 times a day. That's brilliant. Now what's going to start happening is, that is advertising, Tracy. It's just advertising for free. And then you start making a following. Then you start building that congregation, and then you put some out there to sell. Then you make money, and then you put it in advertising. There you go. So now let me, okay, whoever fit to ask me something, Deanna, do not let me forget to split up Tracy money properly. Don't let me forget that, because that was going to be next time question. Okay, whoever that was, go ahead.
So Antonio, so while you're doing the posting and stuff that you was just talking about, would you put it into like an exclusive group?
You can. I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah. If you want to, like, as a matter of fact, everything I've told you today, you have my permission to add more to it. Just don't take away from it. But you add to it. Yes.
Okay. Now, with that being said, if I post into the group, but I already got like the people in the group, but I'm trying to get more people, should I post it in both? But then the group doesn't feel like it's exclusive content.
That's correct. So if you're going to say, I got you, Deanna. If you're going to say that the group is exclusive, then it better be exclusive. Or they at least need to get it first.
Okay, and then you said link, a text, pictures, and video. Can that all be in one post, or should those be separate posts?
Yeah, great question. Deanna, get ready to go. It's split so when I said you're going to post 4 posts, I split the day into 3 threes, because I'm assuming the 4th quarter you're going to be asleep. That was what I was doing. I was assuming you're going to sleep. Of course, you can schedule if you want to, but there you go. So I split it into morning, afternoon, evening. I left night alone. 4 quarters, 15 minutes, 4 quarters. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to split up the morning into 4. Since morning technically starts at midnight, at least in the Gregorian system in which we, the Roman Catholic, whatever system we live in, I can't remember which one it is. It does. If you were Hebrew, it starts differently. Then you can start posting at 3 in the morning. Then your next, and it has to be one of those types. Let's make it a link. And then and what's going to happen is anyone at a 6 o'clock in the morning shift who wakes up at 4 in the morning to get ready, who is going to obviously pick up their phone, is going to see your post of a link, should the algorithm serve them the link. Then at 6 in the morning, there's your picture. And that's for the school teachers on their way to work. Yeah, so they get it. And then at 9 in the morning, then you're posting a video. And sometime 11, when I'm trying to sneak, I'm like, man, I need to hurry up and go to lunch. Then that's when you're going to post the all text, the Joel Osteen type of post, the motivational quote or something like that, right? Or whatever that's going to be. That's when you're going to do that. And you're going to do the same thing in the afternoon. You're going to split it up in 4. You're going to do the same thing in the evening, split it up in 4. And Tony, do I need to get this absolutely correct? No, you need to do what Renee did, get started. Just get started. That's it. Get started. Can y'all see why my teaching style? Can you see why I didn't do this yesterday? That I did the whole, let's just only focus on this tree only. Don't do nothing else. Ain't nothing else. And then now this big conceptual picture that you can apply. Because if you do both at one time, while it is normal, I've realized in my own human experience, it's far easier to understand things this way. Far easier. That's that. Now, Adonia goes, well, how I get money out of it, Antonio? Because Adonia is a very logical thinker. You hear me? She don't need no fireworks. She don't need no pomp and circumstance. Just tell me what I need to do with it. Let me see if it work out. I'll decide for myself. That's Adonia. All right.
I'm just simple. I am kind of simple. I don't like to complicate stuff already. Yeah, you. I don't like you that you know me that well, but
I know you too well. Okay. So it does like, all right, then, well, how I get money out of this? Easy. You're not doing self-promotion. There is no reason to sell something during these posts. What you're doing, now you're more than welcome to sell in the comments, but don't sell in the post. These posts are building that congregation by getting attention. We're doing 1 and 2 with these posts. We're doing 1 and 2. What is number 1? Get attention. What is number 2? Build a congregation. What is number 3? Follow attention, but you can't do that yet because I'm not talking about that. We're doing 1 and 2, getting attention and building a congregation. Everybody follow it, V? Okay, got it. No, go ahead, Tracy.
You said a link. Put a link in one of the posts.
Oh, yeah.
A link to what? Like another video or what?
Can be. As long as the algorithm, it's a great question again. As long as the algorithm receives it as a link, and when it's a link, when it does so there's something called a metagraph. When you post a link on social media, then it spins a little bit and then it shows the picture of what that link was. That's how you know it's a link post. If you put a picture up and then put the link, it won't do that metagraph thing. That's not just because you got a link in it, that's not a link post. That's a picture post with a link in the caption. Those are not the same thing. So a post would be, maybe it's a YouTube video. Tracy, in your case, it's a YouTube video. You get it? It's a YouTube video. Some of you are going to try to Hootsuite this, but it's going to work and it's not going to work, because what social media platforms respect is native posting. This means if you're going to post a video, post it directly to the platform. Why are they doing this, Susan? Because I want you on my platform. I don't want you on Hootsuite. Get your butt over here. Come over here. We go together. You cheating on me with Hootsuite. You get it? We don't want that. We want you over here. So when you post natively directly to the platform, that post gets a little bit more attention. Algorithmically concerning, that post gets a little bit more attention. Am I making this clear? I know I'm going fast because I'm looking at the time, but am I okay? Good, it's good, it's clear. Here's how you extract money out of this. Don't sell any. First off, let me jump on Adonia's side, because I hate salespeople myself. No, why? I love sales and I hate sales. I have a love-hate relationship with sales. I don't like tactics. And even with the business university, while we used to teach tactics, I don't know, y'all probably never noticed it, but I kind of stopped that pretty quickly about all that. I stopped that pretty quickly about all those tactics, mirror this, match tones, that. I ain't like all that. I like honest salespeople who build relationships and sell through relationships. If you don't need the product, I'm gonna tell you, you don't need this product. If you can get a better deal, I'm gonna tell you, when you're honest with you, that's a better deal than mine. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, what I can do is I can sweeten that deal for you, but I have to do, but as it stands, that's a better deal. So please know that if you're doing what I'm saying, this posting schedule, you don't have to sell. The reason you don't have to sell is because you're getting ready to sell. What are you going to do in your first comment? Or once you gather this audience, you're going to put in the caption, by the way, click this link to go to this thing I'm selling. But you don't have to use your video to sell. Y'all, y'all would not be here, especially for 2 hours, sometimes 2+ hours, if I sold you every class. Think about that for me. Actually, I'm going to sell you, period. But think about that for a moment. Well, Tracy, you know what? I'll answer the question, but for $195, I have a course on this that I really go into great detail. I'm going into great detail now, Tracy. Anybody got time for that? You won't get this detailed now. I got 2 weeks left for Tracy before she gotta go back to school. I gotta change her life forever. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So we got to get this done. So what you're gonna do is you extract money out of this by Adonia's gonna say, here's my course. And this is how you're gonna do it. And you can do it in any variation. But when you see the video, you're gonna put in the caption something similar to, hey, if this provided value to you, you know, and I don't really recommend you put in the caption. I prefer it in the comments. That's my preference though, because it's less salesy in the comments. But respectfully, let me see a link in a caption up front and not selling me on that link in the caption in your video. That's quite respectable to me. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I don't. I have no problem with that, because you got to make money, and that's just a link. I can ignore that link and still get the video in my. You're still giving me an option not to hear your sales pitch, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. That's quite respectable. You still have my trust, admiration, and respect. I'm okay with that. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to sell your ebook. Donna's going to sell her course in the caption or in the comments. Leave those 12 posts just adding value. I promise you, you'll always find an Adonia if you're legitimate. If you're not, Susan can see that a mile away. I promise you she can. I promise you she can. She wake up in the middle of the night, you know what? He's scamming me for no reason, and just gotta just show her, you know, and gotta just wake up and show her through some roses and some glitter in the room or something, you know. Move, Holy Spirit, just move her out your organization. Don't put yourself in that situation. The people y'all selling to are not dumb. Trust me, they don't need gimmicks. Just add value. It will come. I did not tell you not to convert. I am telling you, add value, and people don't mind if you convert. If you try to convert without adding value, then screw you, buddy. Right? Unless I really need that product. Go ahead.
Now, because I'm thinking you literally taught us this already. Like you taught us this when
I
you
haven't
did
taught
the
it in a
Gary V
while.
model.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, it's the same thing you've already told us, which I guess I just needed a reminder.
No, it's
Now,
okay.
question,
Mhm.
because we're posting. So you're saying with these posts, we're doing social media, all platforms, put them on everything.
Another good question.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
It's another good question. Let me tell you what, that's actually the best question so far because Adonia, Janice, Trinace, your number one social media should be your email list. I know they're not telling y'all this. I am. Let me tell you why. Because that's Mark Zuckerberg's customer, not yours. That's Mark Zuckerberg's traffic, not yours. Your number one social media needs to be your email list. Therefore, Deanna, whatever you're doing them to get them off that platform and into your database. Elon Musk already got them in Twitter database. You need them in yours. The reason why I say Tracy question is the best question because this is not an answer you typically hear publicly, but everybody like me has one hell of an email database. Hear me well. Antonio, which social media should I use? Your email is a social media and it's your number one platform. It's the best I have yet. And I've said some brilliant things all year, Susan. This is the most brilliant thing I have said all year. Your email list is your number one favorite social media. After that, Tracy, you can choose whatever you want. If you're good at multiples, choose multiples. If you're good at one, choose Facebook. Go ahead, Tracy.
What is the best way to create your email list then? Because for me, I knew the email was, but I don't know how to build my list.
That's a hell of a question. Deanna, if you can remind me to talk about that tomorrow in great detail, I will answer your question for sure, and I'll dedicate some good significant time for that tomorrow because that's a long answer for sure. But if I tell you right now, I'm going to a conference, I'm not going to name the conference. It's brilliant too. You know what? I want to show y'all.
While you doing that, Antonio?
Yes.
Let me say something because I haven't had anything to say, and that's because you did a fantastic job.
I appreciate you, sir.
Don't get it twisted, okay? All right. But what I do want to comment on,
yep,
and I can't speak for anybody else, is that when you went to Tracy's website, Ibrahim's website, and you know, Deanna's website, and you were saying this, you know, says who you are.
Right.
That blew me away because I went, that was, and it was so simple the way you did it, but it didn't print on my brain. Now, Jerome, this is what you need to do because I know what's on my website, and it ain't my brand. Okay,
exactly.
But I love what's on there, and I put it on there for a reason. But now by you doing what you did, as I move forward, that I'll be cognizant of that. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
No, thank you.
That was brilliant, sir.
Thank you, sir. And I thank you for bringing it back up because some of y'all don't post. So guess what you're telling me your brand is? You ain't got one. You ain't got no business. I don't trust you. You ain't posted in 10 years. Go ahead, Trinace. Go ahead, Trinace.
Let me put this, block my window out so they stop looking at me.
Please proceed to station 10. Oh, she done put do not disturb. So she built her own company. Y'all hear me? Y'all paying me to build my company. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So with that being said, I know I only caught the last hour or so, but this is what I took of this. Maybe I need to be branding my name as the umbrella and everything else I do under that.
This is
because
correct.
They're all connected.
This is correct. As long as you're calling your name the brand, then yes. Yes. As As long as that's the personal brand, it's fine. Because Apple is a personal brand. It's just a personal brand of a company, but it's definitely a personal brand. Apple is so much of a personal brand. We argue Apple, Android. Like we argue as if Apple was like a real human being, Susan.
Well, the pastor, what he at church, he say, well, I don't know for you people who don't have Apple phones. So that be the joke at church.
I know. That's why, Tracy got them green bubbles. I don't understand it, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah. Well, she actually made me understand. I'm the one that become the box was right. Right. So she made me understand it. And she got a whole family for the iPhones. She's just a rebel. She's a rebel. Hear me well. If you want to build your email list, you need lead magnets. I promise to go into detail about that tomorrow. I would do you a disservice to do it today. Deanna, if you could remind me to go into detail about lead magnets, even like 20 different lead magnets for the woman, lead magnets for the man, I will do that. I promise you I will. I promise you I will. And I was saying something. Oh, okay. Tracy asked a question. So if you, and I promise, I'm trying to move as fast as I can. If you are like a Donia and you're saying, I've got to do this, and what you do, then you go, well, I need to do what I love. Adonia's got that part. And then Adonia goes, but I don't know what to do next. And I don't have time. None of that matters. I'll say it again. If you're like Adonia, I've got to do this. Check. If you're like Adonia, you go, well, I know what I want to do. Check. And I'm only going to be myself and do what I love. Check. But I don't know how to do it. X. Wrong. No. You don't need to know how to do it. And you go, I don't have time. X. Wrong. You don't need to have time either. What you need is to get that passion out there. And people will follow you. I know that sounds esoteric, and I don't even mean it to be esoteric, but it is the truth. We as humans we have this gift. I don't care who you are. We know when people are full of manure. We just do. We do. But if you get out there and you say, hey, I'm trying to build $1 million business. I ain't no millionaire. I'm broke as hell. But I'm a document every step of the way. You go, you know what? I like him. I ain't gonna lie. That's all right by me. Let me hide behind him and learn from his mistakes. We like that. We like that. If you're a pastor and you go, yeah, I don't preach sex for marriage because I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I'm not worthy of such a message because I had plenty of sex before I got married. That is somebody who is going, like the whole congregation goes, you know what, Pastor? I'm so glad I picked the right place. Because authentic people like authentic people. The people, as Phil would say, third-rate people, they weren't going to follow you anyway. They weren't going to buy from you. Let these third-rate people go to somebody else's company. You don't need them. They're never going to buy from you anyway. Just stick with rate 1 and 2. You can't get all rate 1s. You got to get some 2s up in there. It's going to be more 2s than 1s, but that's all right. It is what it is. Let's wrap this up. Take your podcast now, Tracy. And here's the deal. Everything, links, text, picture, and video can now be done through ChatGPT now. So we ain't even, the last time I taught this, it was work. It ain't even work no more. You can genuinely go to YouTube. Go to ChatGPT and say, I need a YouTube video that fits this keynote. That's it. It'll give you a YouTube video of somebody else. Or you can go, write me a YouTube script based on this thing I did. It really is that simple. There's no more struggling. Now I need to say something very important about how I got this far in building my podcast. 60,000 downloads per episode, blah, 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 blah. All right. Truthfully, there's only one way that I got this far with podcasts. Well, two ways. Two ways I got this far in podcasts. It got better, Susan, when I added the second way. I personally believe the second way, the second addendum to this one way is most important. I live by it. It just is what it is. Number one, I posted who I truly am, unapologetically and consistently. I didn't care who was watching. I didn't look at the numbers. Every time I was forced to look at the numbers, Susan, you go live. I tell them, flip that damn camera around. I did. I tell them, flip that. I don't want to see. Because what happens, Susan, it goes from 10 to 9, and I go, and I said something, and let me switch it. I ain't switching, and I can't have you in my head messing my presentation up. And it's a weakness. I know my weakness, Tracy. You know what I'm saying? It's killing me watching that number go up and down. So get that crap away from me. So I have to turn that damn camera around. I promise you I do. Even when I do like the selfie video, you go live. Nope. What I do is I go live, and I swear to God to you, I turn that joint around, and I literally look at the back of the camera. I cannot look at that and keep my focus. There's a little loser in me that goes, please them, please them, please
And
them.
I think
And
that's
it doesn't
something
work.
that kind of, I have the same thing, because so when I did my live, it wasn't like one or two will click on while I'm live and then go away, and it's like, oh, are we not? So it kind of makes you not even want to do it. But then
Exactly.
someone told me on the call, they're like, hey, but even though they're not watching at that moment, I see people go back and they see it later. So
I had to
I
tell Deanna
completely
that
understand.
yesterday. Yeah, it's devastating to me. It's devastating. All this confidence I got, Adonia, and it's going from 10 to 7. It's devastating. It's like worse than the trash can, Susan. It's devastating because it makes me feel like the last 30 years and all that struggle was for nothing. And that imposter syndrome kicks up, and it is undefeated. My imposter syndrome has never lost a battle with me. Never. It is undefeated every day. I have to remind myself I am not my imposter syndrome. I don't know why. It's a thorn in my side. It ain't going nowhere. Ain't no sense in me trying to act tough to y'all. My imposter syndrome wins against me daily. Just trying to be transparent. Hopefully I'm helping somebody. I don't know though, right? Hopefully I'm helping somebody. But post authentically, like just saying that out loud made me look weak. But the people who are really my audience went, you know what? And that's what I'm talking about right there. That energy right there of that's why I follow her. That's what you're looking for. And then the second thing is the show notes. I am convinced without a shadow of a doubt that people look at show notes and judge that podcast. And the reason I start focusing very hard on show notes, because I am a lover of podcasts, a consumer of podcasts, and a consumer of, even if you add a YouTube podcast, it's the most, at this point, I read 33 books a month. I can shrink that down now to reading 22 books a month because podcast has replaced 10 of those now. And I'm telling you, I go to a podcast, and I don't care if you haven't posted in a while, because I just say it's a limited series. But when I look at them show notes, Susan, I go, I'm not listening. Then that's not the quality I want.
So right there, and I guess this is me thinking that everybody don't like reading, because sometimes I feel like I put too much in the notes to where, like for instance, when I post on Facebook and I'll have a video, but at the same time, I'll put the notes about what the video is going to talk about. Should I keep, because then I'll be like, man, that's too much. People are not going to read all that. So do people actually do read it?
Yeah, I'm about to show you right now. As you talking, look, July 10th, AI and everything is now is the future. When you click this joint, here's all these show notes. And let me tell you why. I understand this is podcast that I love to listen to.
You're showing an email from the AI conference?
That was not supposed to be on screen. Okay, y'all didn't see that. That's when I said, I want to show y'all something, but I ain't gonna show it. Yeah, I showed you anyway by accident. Lord have mercy. It's Adonia fault. It's Adonia fault for making me do that. Shame on Adonia. Nothing in there.
It's my fault for everything.
Yes, yes. I mean, nothing in there is personal. I just ain't want to give away their brilliant plan, but that just goes to show you why you should build your email list, because they selling it 2,500 of these type of people. I won't say who it is, for $999. That's how you make money. But anyway, I was supposed to show you that. I was literally said I ain't gonna show you, and then I guess Susan prayed. It was like, Lord, make him show us. So her prayers.
I missed it.
You missed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll show you, but I won't. But I'll pause the record this time. But I'll show you since it went out there. Hold on. Show you.
Glasses on.
Okay, go ahead. No, you can say what you want. I'm just to let you know.
It even showed you or told you what to use it for. And email marketing was one of the names on there.
Email marketing, telemarketing campaign. Brilliant. What's the data fields include? Client name, business name, title, email address, phone number, web address, state, city, zip code, country. Usage license, unlimited. Now I'm sure I like one other. I'm there at that conference as a big businessman, so I'm sure that didn't go out to attendees. That went out to people like me. But anywho, I'm sure because that's for the first email say anyway. But I'm sure that's a different kind of email. That's why they really want to put it out there. Tracy, check this out, and we're ending. Here is the show notes. Hopefully, I'm sharing the right thing. Okay. Am I sharing the right thing?
You are.
I'm so glad you went. You're showing an email. I'm sure you did that. Here's the podcast, and this is the show notes. And this is why I do this, because I understand a couple of things. I understand if I'm listening to your podcast, I'm gonna listen to it until finish, even if I got to stop. So then I hit play right from where I left off. But then, you know what I want, Tracy? I'm gonna copy and paste all this and put this in my notes. You crazy if you think I'm not gonna do that.
Keep scrolling.
Remember, I'm looking for my $1 million idea. And here's the crazy thing. Apple Podcasts doesn't put all of it. See how I cut off here? But I haven't built the website for this thing yet. I will. But other podcasting platforms do. Like if I come here to Red Circle and then put Antonio T. Smith Jr. I spelled it wrong. Secret to success, because I don't even know my own link. Right here. Then you can see the full thing. There you go. Here it is. The whole full thing. Never fails. I can assure you, Spotify has their limit, their text limit and stuff. You don't know where people get their podcasts from. Where I got that from, and I'm gonna tell you where I got it from. Tech Meme Ride Home podcast.
Wait, before you hit enter. Okay. Tracy, this is directly from the Red Circle site. Scroll back to the bottom, Antonio. If you look right here, it says advertising inquiries.
And that's for brands, but this is people who do this are people who are willing to spend money. And that's how they get, I'll just click it. This is how they get. This is how they get to Tracy. This is how they get to Tracy. Yeah. This is how they get to Tracy. Did I get it? Now,
and
check this out.
I know it's late. Can I be selfish really quickly for one?
Oh, sure,
second?
please.
While you're in Red Circle, can you go into my podcast and look at the show notes? And I just want to, if it's enough or should it be more? Is that okay?
Of course. We here. I'm here.
It's what's your mess? MESS. Because you were in Red Circle when you did it, and I was like, I have show notes, and it should pop up with.
Hold on.
You're missing the lot on her name.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do what she said and go back to Red Circle. redcircle.com, and then
can I say this while you are pulling up stuff?
Okay.
to all of you who who add your show notes. I love reading. That might be because I'm just weird, but it's okay. I enjoy reading what's happening as well as watching it. So I don't think that would, I mean, it might bother somebody, but I think that to have it both ways, where they can choose whether they can read it if they want to read it or not. But if it's not there at all, then they can't make a choice. You make a choice for them. So I just wanted to say that.
No, I'm glad you said it. Tracy, this is approved. You did a good job. Good show notes. Could you do better? Probably not. I mean, could you do better? Probably so. I'm sure it's both and. This is fantastic. Your cover is nice and bright. You're good to go. Of course, you can always put things in ChatGPT and go more. You can transcribe your entire episode and then put it in ChatGPT and say, hey, write me show notes based off of this. Deanna does that for me. So you can do that too. So good job to you for sure. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Here is what, look, tech meme ride home. It was, I put an emphasis on the show notes when I was building Mexit News, and I had Jerome going into complex things about electric stuff. Okay, could Massachusetts, okay, they didn't do what they normally do. Let me see. Maybe they dropped their own standard. Here we go. On this, it's originally published April 2015. I guess he's redoing it. I think this podcast kind of slowed down, but he would put all the links of everything he was talking about in this podcast notes. So when I was trying to learn more about tech and the news, I would go to his podcast and I would do it. He's fell off here recently, I suppose. 1,547. But if you keep going down, he's got incredible show notes and stuff. So the Ben Shapiro show, I think he's advertising my podcast before, if I'm not mistaken. But look at this. Look. Notes, episode this, Daily Wire, today's sponsors. Let's just go to Megan Kelly. It's like, I really need y'all to pay attention. Look, pretty good show notes. What it does is it tells me not only is this podcast active, but it has a quality worthy of my time, because I'm not listening to podcasts because I'm drinking wine. I'm listening to podcasts because I came here for $1 million idea and you will give it to me now. This is my attitude about it, right? It's like, give me what I want right now. And I'm here for that. And I just trust that if you put your thing in the show notes and took effort, you're better than the person who didn't even do it. You get what I'm saying? I'm just convinced. You can't tell me no different. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying for sure that I truly believe. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? We might be able to handle that. When is that AI conference?
It is August
13th to 15th?
No, it's actually in the middle of a week. It's in the middle of the week. It's the 8th and the 9th, a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
Are you in? Write it down, because it's at the MGM Grand.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we stand.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And wrench around and wrench it off. We're gonna have a good time. I gotta
around and wrenched off.
Okay, good. I was talking to the private messenger who the private messenger
Oh.
the private message. Give me 3 minutes, Deanna. This concludes podcast. Y'all can ask more tomorrow. We will move on to quotes, merchandise, and blogs. I'm gonna do all three in one because I can combine them all three. Quotes, merchandise, blog. There's another thing that I kept telling myself, don't forget, and I forgot each time. It's pretty simple. And I'm gonna cover it tomorrow because I have to with the quotes in the podcast. Try to lock people in your universe. when you make a post, send them to your podcast. When you send them to your podcast, send them back to the post. Don't be afraid to tell people if you want to see the inspiration from which this podcast occurred, click this article or something. Don't be afraid to do that. Not only does it make you more trusted, but it's fun in itself, right? You want to keep people locked in there. So I want to give you my final words. You can genuinely make a full living off your podcast. You really can make a full living off your podcast. I obviously covered Be Authentic, and I obviously covered everything else. So I want to cover something I did not cover. And that is for those people who have a podcast, who know everything I have said, but you have not got started yet. Assuming this is not your self-sabotager, and this is not a low self-esteem issue, I'm gonna move those to the side because that's a different conversation. I'm just talking about something else is holding you back. What's holding you back more than likely is you're trying to podcast in some way that's not native to you. So I want to talk to you for the next 60 to 90 minutes, 90 seconds, excuse me, 60 to 90 seconds. I want to talk to you the next 60 to 90 seconds. I get this problem. It's why I got podcasts and I'm not even paying attention to right now because I've done the same thing. Or maybe you have a partner and they're not on it like you, or maybe you started an interview show and you hate interviews, or maybe it's the opposite. You have a show that is just you and you hate that attention, so you need interviews to hide behind because you, whatever that may be, you need to find what's native to you and just press record. If holding you up is the editing, then make podcasts you don't have to edit. That's important. Like and that'll determine your time. That'll determine what you're talking about. That'll determine your script. That'll determine your script. If you're using bulletin points, it'll determine so many different things. But the reason why you haven't got started, it's not because you have these low self-esteem issues. No, your soul knows this ain't you. And no matter how much you try, your soul is like, I'm not gonna do that. That's not what we agreed. We didn't agree to be fake, so nope, not gonna let you do it. And that's what's happening. I'm telling you, I know this from experience. I get it. And for those of you who have this problem, you're more than likely resonating with what I'm saying. So what you do to solve this problem is two things. Either I say Buster Gary Vee. People have been documenting and creating way before Gary Vee said it, but he's coined the phrase. Just push record, make it work. Another way that got me into doing this so consistently as I do is I started realizing, damn, I do podcasts every day when y'all ask me questions. So now what I do is outside of this, I go, wait a minute, Bobby. So you complaining, I'm about to hit record. Call me on my phone call line. I'm not joking. Call me. Hold on, jump on Zoom real quick. Because I got time. You bother me, jump on Zoom. And what I start doing now is I stop letting these incredible conversations that die on the living room wall. I stop letting that happen. And I go, Bobby, now you using me. I'm going to use you. You understand? This call is being recorded. Go ahead and tell me about your wife. This is what I do. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this is what I do. But so some of you, like the humor consultant, people go, Susan, oh my God, can I just pick your brain? You sure can. You're going to give me $3,000 or this call is being recorded. Either way, I'm going to get paid from you picking my brain. Those are the only two real solutions I have for you. There could be some greater, but the greater ones didn't work for me. What worked for me was just hitting record and forcing myself to record, document, don't create, or saying, all right, Tracy, hold on. I'm gonna record. You got something to say off recording? Because I'm about to hit the rest, record on this rest thing. That's what got me posting consistently, because the truth is, all of you, I'm ending now, all of you genuinely are dropping podcast worthy material every day. Every day. You, even if you're by yourself, you get up and brush your teeth and go, I don't feel like jumping on this call. What a great podcast. I woke up this morning, I don't feel like jumping on this podcast. I don't feel like listening, Antonio. And then you go, but I got to do what I got to do. My body don't want to do it. Yesterday, I had my kids do 100 push-ups. I've been trying to tell them to work out. I forced they bus to work out yesterday. You understand? And I made them do 100 push-ups. One of them did regular ones, one of them did incline. And they was pushing through it. And then we cheering and stuff. What a great podcast that could have been, Phil. And I missed the opportunity to press record. Hey, I missed the opportunity. You are doing things that are very great. Just hit record. Adonia has so many great things that happen in her office. She can't necessarily hit record in her office the way she wants to due to like getting sued, but she can write these things down and then put it in ChatGPT, write a general episode about it, train her voice in AI, or just read that episode. This something you're doing is worthy. That's all I had to say. Tomorrow we will cover those 3 things I said. I have no idea what today is. So if we're doing something tonight, are we doing something tonight, Deanna? I have no idea what today is.
Actually, I will get with Grace to see if Prophet and Renee.
Oh, so it's Wednesday.
Yes, it's
All right then. It's Wednesday. We'll talk about tomorrow. I have a conference in Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, whatever state is abbreviated Indian. I have a Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, so Minnesota. I have a conference there, and I think I'll be online. And it's at the same time as the thingamabobby of the thingamabobby. It's the same time as that. So we might move it up, or we might do something. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. You can plant better. You can dominate. Thank you all so much. Love you, everybody.
Love you more.
Love you.
All right, y'all have a good one.